시간을 활용해서 장부를 정리하는 것이 중요하지. 언젠가 나도 작은 누님만이 큰 누님까지 될 테니.
Hello, and welcome back, everybody, to my Nimbus Company stream. We're going to be doing the next Intervallo, fully catching up, and I guess without further ado, we shall begin. I'm looking forward to actually finding out what's going on with the sweepers. We saw some of that in Ruina. We saw a very minor amount in Lobotomy Corporation, but this seems to be an entire dedicated chapter to them, so hopefully we see quite a bit more. Let us start with Happy New Year. Yawn. Dante, any idea where the leftover cake from yesterday went? No idea. I mean, why would I know? I can't even eat. Darn, did Anki already get her paws on them? Rhodia rubbed her tired eyes, muttering something about how we should have partied in her room instead, and stumbled to the back door. ... The New Year's came swiftly to the inhabitants of the bus after the various incidents of the LCE. The sinners all came from different backgrounds and parts of the city, but annual celebration of the New Year's seemed to be a thread that connected their cultures together. They began floating the idea of a New Year's party and... Excellent! Then permit me the honor of hosting this banquet. With her usual overdramatic boast, coupled with the familiar twinkle in her eye, Don Quixote declared that there would indeed be a New Year's party, and thus it was decided. Again? After all the hell we went through with the back door and whatnot of the out-of-season Christmas celebration? Ahem, yet I must insist, for 'twas but an effort to decorate the bus, the intent quite divorced from the act of celebration. Don Quixote glanced at Sinclair, sheepishly scratching the back of her head. Huh? Oh, don't worry about me, really, haha. Well, 'tis true that mine actions have brought thee quite the distress, unintentionally, I might add. Thus I ask thee, wouldst thou not agree that a communal event to mark the occasion might freshen both our spirits and bodies? I can't even begin to imagine her amnesiac self even taking a moment to give a damn about how Sinclair might take it, but I guess with memory came tact. Hooray! Don Quixote has social ability now. You know, it's our first New Year's together. It sure is an occasion for a celebration, huh? Gotta hear the bell go ding, to really mark the transition to a new year, right? Ah, it seems that we shall be welcoming the first light of the new year in company of one another. This is indeed a cause for celebration. A bowl of noodles right before the last night of the year fades. Classic. Sob, such bubbling enthusiasm from ye warmeth mine own heart. Forsooth, the grandiosity of this banquet shall be one for the books. Fireworks most brilliant, enough delicacies to... Karen, when's our next stop? Mephi will be running non-stop for 3 days at least. Only dum-dums stopped on a fast road. So she says. Virgilius muttered with his usual sardonic edge, one fist under his chin. Fie, for next year's celebration, the banquet shall be prepared ere the promised hour. Don Quixote's idea of a grand banquet depressingly fizzled into nothingness, but Rhodia brought out the cakes and cookies she'd stashed in her room so we could at least hold a small celebration for the New Year's together. After all that, we all stayed up together, watched the New Year's first sunrise briefly paint the city in gold, then retired to sleep. When everyone woke up, rubbing their eyes, the world outside the bus had completely transformed. Huh. That's actually a really cool backdrop. This reminds me a lot of Blade Runner, as opposed to some of the other things we've seen in the city, with how stacked up it is. There was a behemoth of a structure, bizarre in its presence, and its walls seemed to be made of gargantuan steel plates. H-core? So that's H-core. The sinners began to voice their surprise, appropriately so, as what came into view was different from any of the nests we'd passed by on our journeys thus far. Is that massive structure all one building? If that whole thing's the nest, Then where the hell's the back streets? It's big enough to cover H-Corps' territory and then some. Well, there he goes again, asking dumb questions without ever taking a peep at the guidebook. That's not the nest. That huge box you see over there? That's District 8. We call it Hong Yuan, the vast garden here at H-Corps. The nest lies within the center of the structure, and the back streets without. Ugh, so they squeeze the entire population of this district in there? Do they not just get a ray of sunlight all year round? Huh, well at least they won't have to worry about rain. Prithee, avail me a sight as well. ... As the thinners began to gather one by one at the other side of the bus, stirred awake from their late night's rest, I felt my gaze drawn towards Hong Lu. I looked for signs of concern or distress on his face, worried. It wasn't exactly something unique to Hong Lu, but the stories about his past home life we've heard throughout the year, whenever he felt like sharing them, were all consistently and terribly depressing. Phew, it's not such a bland place once you actually try living there for a while. But his lips, ever so slightly curled upward into a kindly and relaxed smile, are making the same expression as ever. An expression that hasn't changed at all since our first meeting. Maybe it's just a cultural difference, kind of like how Hong Lu can be so nonchalant about things that should give most people pause, but... Actually, no, I'm not helping anyone or anything by entertaining these thoughts. My job at the moment is to keep a close eye on Hong Lu, more so than usual. And if the time comes for me to help him, as the manager, I'll give it my all. Besides... Whoa, this thing's even bigger up close. Verily, I carry no recollection of a structure so grand, even in past adventures of mine. If my efforts aren't enough, I know I can trust the sinners to lend me a hand. Hey, let me see too. I collected my thoughts and approached the sinners who were flattened up against the glass window to get a good view. Oh, look, it's the bus at the bottom. The duel. Is this going to be anything like the last duel we had to do? Clear within 10 turns. Okay.
자,
주목.
열쇠가 필요하신가요? 열쇠가 필요하신가요?
주목으로.
열쇠가 필요하신 관리
책임은 모두 내가 진다.
관리인
책임은 모두 내가 진다.
열쇠가 필요하신가요?
다들
말
영광입니다.
불로 정화하고
That's good.
깨끗한 세계를 세우라.
10 turns is kind of a lot, so this is probably going to be a long duel. Or, no, wait. Clear within 10 turns is just like the average level thing, isn't it? For easy EX clears, once we left the bus. Oh man, can't believe we had to get off the bus here. We have to make a formal complaint against H-Corps for this crap. What the hell were they thinking doing shoddy construction work at the entrance of the highway that leads straight into the nest? Many causes there may be to such construction projects, yet perhaps an early warning sign ere our approach to the site would have been sensible were it not for young Karen's most valiant drifting. I shudder to even imagine the terrible possibilities. It would have been a most awful end to an adventure. It's no surprise the sinners all had a piece of their mind to speak. As we drove up the entryway, we unexpectedly came across a mess of badly put together steel plates blocking our path in the middle of the road. Karen quickly spun the bus around, which meant that everyone ended up being thrown around like rag dolls. Good thing there was another road off the highway that leads to the city, right? I bet Karen would have tried to reverse gear all the way back into the last interchange. But looks like we'll be going through all these winding alleyways to get into the nest. It's so dark in here. We were greeted by a dark street upon disembarking from the bus, illuminated only by faint strands of light. I like the aesthetic here. It was immediately obvious that we found ourselves in the back streets of H-Corps. Looks pretty impressive from the outside, but no different from the other back streets inside, eh? Yep, it's a familiar sight. Gotta say, it's getting real old. I ask thee, is the nest of this district shrouded in such darkness as well? No, these particular sites are limited to the back streets of District 8. The back streets of this district weren't very different from the other ones we'd visited in the past. People hurrying through the streets as though they were being chased by something, people scowling and glaring at the ground with some sickness or discomfort, Seems all too common in every corner of the city. There was one thing about this place that stood out from the other districts, however. They're kind of reminding me of the former G-Corps soldiers back at District 4. Ooh, what do you mean? You mean those fellows? The growths on their flesh appeared too organic to be prosthetics. Some of them had odd protrusions or nodules bulging from their skin as well. Not at all, Manager Bud. Look, they haven't all mutated in the same pattern, like into an insectoid form, for example. Well, I guess I should commend you for not looking at them through a biased lens. You're observing the aftermath of District 8's distinctive method of treatment. Oh, so this is where the rumors about the bluish healing ointment come from, huh? Apparently they can cure any flesh wound after just one night dressed in bandages? So it's like K-Corps ampules, but worse. It seems that certain misconceptions must be addressed. There are variations of H-Corps' singularity, the bolus. The bolus? She's likely referring to medicines brewed and kneaded into ball-shaped pills. Correct. H-Corps, or the Hongyuan Bioengineering Group, mainly manufacture boluses that contain essences of treatment. The boluses may be taken orally, ground with water into a paste and applied directly to the affected area, or dissolved into water, soaked into bandages and wrapped around the necessary area for treatment. Ah, I guess rumors transform as they travel. Oh, I see. I was just thinking about how they do things back at the K-Corps. The focus of K-Corps' technology is the reversal or recovery of one's conditions. Returning to the original state is the keyword in their treatment. It's no rare sight to find unique technologies, and technology developed independently by the inhabitants of the backstreets of District 8 using the manufactured boluses. The treatments are not individually customized for each patient. Instead, their focus is on selecting the appropriate technique from a myriad of choices to address deficiencies in their statuses. Perhaps one would choose the words transformation or evolution as a more illustrative descriptor for their method of treatment. Huh. So, that's what counts as treated? The crowd Sinclair was pointing at certainly appeared unhurt, as none of them were bleeding or walking with a limp, but many of them appeared dazed, staring blankly at nothing, or scratching absent-mindedly at their mutated parts. Ah, they must be the regulars. Unexpectedly, we found our answer not from Faust, not from Mersal, but from Hong Lu. The regulars? Yes, I've heard of them as a child. People who've grown too accustomed to visiting the clinics in search of their mystical treatments. The regulars might appear more intimidating than most people at first glance, but apparently all the side effects they've been stacking changed them in strange ways. It is highly likely that interoperation conflicts or issues will arise when applying highly desperate treatment methods to a single body. At least it's a cheaper alternative for people who didn't sign up for life insurance. You speak of life insurance? Yes, life insurance. There's a special insurance option to bring the client back to life upon the event of their death. So, the irony isn't lost on me, but I thought resurrecting people was one of the head's taboos. The head does not consider the revival via life insurance to be a violation of their non-resurrection taboo. I actually didn't remember that being one of their taboos. It is likely that, on a technical level, this revival is actually categorized as brain resuscitation as opposed to a full resurrection, degradation of its functions, considered, of course. Another fatal downside of this technology is that, unlike the manager's clock winding, the subject cannot be brought back to life if their brain is destroyed. Also, there's a risk of significant losses in the process of information transference. Losses, huh? So maybe some of their mutations could be more than just a side effect of these treatments. Maybe, but I heard it takes more than 1 or 2 revivals to change that much. And since apparently people in the backstreets could never even dream of paying consistent insurance renewal rates, so after all, who would sign up for life insurance if using the services could reduce them to such a pitiful state? Yeah, they appear pathetic and pitiful to you rich bastards, don't they? You'll soon be in the same boat as them, so save some pity for yourself. Identify yourself. The stranger's voice cut through our discussion like a foreign instrument. We turned around to find a large group of people who were clearly up to no good. You must be the young master of that high and mighty Jia family, huh? I can tell just by looking at your pretty face. Your friends, Hongwen? No. I haven't had much chance to get acquainted with the people from the backstreets, so nope, I've never met them before. Of course you haven't. Too busy living large, playing gods in a whole different world from us plebs, huh? Not that it matters. We're just here to take the thing you brought here for submission to the family hierarchy evaluation. Sorry about that silence for a moment, guys. I'm actually in the kitchen right now, so I'm probably gonna be going silent like that sometimes. You know, what can you do? I got kicked out of my room, so I just gotta chill here. Not that it matters. We're just here to take the thing you brought here for submission to the family hierarchy evaluation. The what evaluation? Okay, there's clearly been a misunderstanding. There's quite a lot of them. We're not off to a great start here, huh, man? Actually, no. It'd be a violation of our office's core values to jump them like we're some common thugs. I, Shan San, third son of the Triax office, challenge Jia Baoyu of the Jia family to a duel. Our wager will be that the winner can take anything they want from the loser. Wait, what do you mean a duel? Duel? I've heard tales that duels of the Honorable Fixers of the Sink Association Eastern Branch announced their intent to duel by stating their affiliation and name, instead of casting their gauntlets, and the pamphlet that young Ishmael had presented before me earlier presenteth the truth that the Triax office is indeed an office of the East, though they are indeed of lesser quality. Youch. 'Tis a true, genuine, accurate declaration of a duel that we behold. Sigh. So, it's just a fancy way of saying 1v1 me? Let's go, innit? I mean, this guy doesn't look too tough. What do you think, Faust? Agreed. This individual does not possess any particularly exceptional skill that may pose difficulties for Hong Lu. I think it's going to be okay. I'll be back in a minute, Dante. You sure this is okay? I don't think you're gonna lose against him, but, you know, just in case. No worries. I have some childhood experience with duels myself. I've done about 10 of them, I think. Ha, so the rich boy's dabbled in some duels, has he? I think you misunderstand. I meant to say that I've done about 10 of them a day. Oh, but grandmother sometimes let me skip them, so it might have been slightly fewer than that on some days. What? I, Hong Lu of Limbus Company. No. I, Bao Yu of the Jia family, accept this duel. Hong Lu stepped confidently as the opponent was processing what he just heard. For a moment, Hong Lu just stood there in a stance that did not express even a hint of aggression, before curiously cocking his head to the side. Sorry, are we waiting for something? Oh, so I always let the opponent get the first 2 moves in duels. Please don't hesitate. Let me? Your cocky pride shall be your downfall. The man who introduced himself as Shan San leapt towards Hong Lu. Then, after about a minute, How is this happening? Unlike Shan San, who was throwing punches and swings like with boiling hot passion, Hong Lu was effortlessly gliding between his opponent's strikes like he was out on a picnic, as though this was but a leisurely stroll through a garden. Whenever Shan San threw a powerful punch, Hong Lu redirected it to the side with ease, the fist only grazing his clothes. We were mesmerized by the feathery light movements of his hands and feet that effortlessly glided through the air, until, after one blink-and-you'll-miss-it moment, we realized that Shan San was already face down on the ground, defeated. If he was punching, why did he have an axe? Ho, Hong Lu, hast thou been concealing thy full strength in our presence? Oh no, I wouldn't say that. I always put my all into every fight. Yet, to defeat this foe so soundly, to dance with such grace between his strikes is 'Twas as though thou wert dueling someone whose skill may only measure against a child's. But most of our fights happen in environments with lots of variables, and we usually fight against enemies with all kinds of unexpected weapons and powers. You read him. Already familiar with this fool's moves? Oh yes, some of my B.Wu instructors use similar techniques as this gentleman here. Practice makes perfect, and perfection makes an expert, right? Whew. Right, but I'm not sure that's entirely relevant here. ... Well, anyways, looks to me that he soundly kicked your behind in this duel. Let us through, why don't you? And preferably not do the thing I think you're about to do. This duel wasn't overseen by a notary office anyway, and our employer's not going to let this failure slide if we just leave. Heh, don't just sit there. Move your asses and jump them. Pathetic. I can kind of see how we're becoming experts at getting jumped. With the bitter cry of the defeated, his gang rushed towards us. Well, Hong Lu just whipped out martial skill that we didn't know he had. What do these guys do? Gain haste, inflict bleed, bleed and bind, bleed. One clash wound, gain 2 haste. Okay. Pretty standard stuff. I'm not super worried about this fight, but it's also like at the very beginning. If like haste and bind stuff is what we're going to be going up against most of the time, I'm not particularly worried, because normally those sorts of enemies you kind of have to they sort of win more in my experience, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm kind of just like talking like I actually know what's gonna happen, but if you just like don't let them win early, it's normally fine. Then again, my units aren't exactly the fastest in the world. But yeah, shouldn't really matter. Sinking teams, am I right? They do have a lot of health for some reason. That's... swapping to Yi-Sang is always such a trip, because everyone else is like punching, and then he just like unloads on them. It's kind of hilarious. Let's go. First fight down. Not a problem. My head has expanded. This really isn't a great start, fellas. It's never easy, is it? Hey, at least we got a nice warm-up. It wasn't all bad. I don't know, this seems more serious than our usual street brawls. Ishmael's right. They weren't your everyday thugs who pick fights with random people for no good reason. They were contracted by someone to specifically target and eliminate Hong Lu. And given how openly they were about their intent, calling it a contract doesn't seem like whoever gave them the contract was exactly going for subtlety. Then maybe this was Jia Zichun was talking about? Maybe this is what Jia Zichun was talking about? Way back when she mentioned surviving as heirs? Whoever's behind this must have a bone to pick with Hong Lu. Indeed, it seems we must expect more skirmishes like this going forward. Alas, was this trial not readily overcome? Not the point. Think on it a little more. Seems like they're assuming that Hong Lu's brought something here in order to participate in that family hierarchy evaluation. And there's no reason to assume that we've seen the last of them. They're going to try again to take out the competition. A highly accurate assessment of the situation by the executive manager. I expected no less from someone of your genius. Going for the classics of brown-nosing today, Otis. Since when was it brown-nosing to compliment a job well done? do you not expect this inane conversation is most riveting, but I'd prefer some silence while we wait. It seems the company foresaw such difficulties. They've sent you a support team to help handle this issue. We heard voices coming from behind us, from where Virgilius pointed. My, you guys still haven't learned how to stick to a plan, have you? Really threw me off when I was told to meet you in some backstreets location away from our agreed rendezvous point. A familiar voice, a voice we could not forget. It's Sod! Whoa! Been a while, everyone. Hi, I'm here too. Pilot. We turned around to follow where the voice was coming from, and recognized the two people we've been hoping to see again. I'll be real, I recognize Sod, but I don't recognize Pilot. Was that the person from,
착각하지 마라.
is that like the person that got killed by the Twin Hook pirates? Or like
내 놈들 덕분에
one of the
내가
people there?
강해진 게
I
아니야.
think so.
내가 강하기에
A guide.
놈들을 휘두르는 거지.
Ignore that. Something fell, doesn't matter. Sod? And hey, Pilot, right? What's wrong? It's like you're all looking at a ghost. Pilot, didn't you tell me that you shared my news with them last time? I did. I sure did, ma'am. Oh, yeah, he did. The students each recovered from the initial shock of seeing them again, and soon their faces began to bloom with relieved smiles. Well, good to see things haven't changed much around here. Sod, we're so glad to see you're okay. Tick-tock to you too. Good to see your gears are turning just fine. Sod smiled with a familiar grin. She did not seem to have changed much since the last time we met, save for a few minor differences. Her outfit and her badge, for example. Last I recall, you were promoted, yes? Allow me to congratulate you. Yeah, haha. Or the hints of melancholy hanging from her smile and flickering in her eyes. Hey, I'm merely congratulating her on her promotion and offering a recognition of her excellent accomplishments. I don't see what your problem is here. But we all know the meaning that promotion carries. Indeed, and it is very profound. After all, what meaning is there to a promotion attained without spilling some blood? You're a real piece of work. Let me ask you something then. If everyone behaves like you do around her, tiptoeing around the facts, keeping it hush-hush about what happened, where's she going to get the bare minimum of the recognition and consolation she deserves? Hush-hush would have been nice. I've even overheard some of them whisper that I let my partner die just so I could snag a promotion. So, in that regard, I appreciate that, Otis. If we're being technical, I did die, except my brain was intact. Not even Keiko's regenerative ampules could have revived me if it wasn't. Then, did Effie also? Apparently they went right for Effie's head when they stabbed him with the prosthetic. According to the coroner's autopsy. ... K-Core ampules, life insurance, neither of them can revive someone with a damaged brain. Didn't we stab Effie, though? Like, Otis killed him. Because the Encore people were just, like, gonna let him hang on the nail and slowly die. But maybe they gave him brain damage in the interim? I don't know. It is what it is. Anyways, let's not dwell on the depressing stuff. We're here for work, so let's get some work done. So let's talk about work, okay, Pilot? That's a lot of work. Yes, ma'am. Well, let's see here. Coincidentally, I happen to make friends with a feller who has ties to the Gia family, so I brought him over. ... Hey, is that everything? Yes, sir. Briefing over. Just as everyone was reeling in stunned silence at the least informative, least hopeful briefing we had ever had the displeasure of sitting through, Ishmael was the first to catch herself. She looked up at Sod. Sod, can we rely on you for some elaboration here? The brief was a good demonstration of the necessity of educating the 5 W's and 1 H principle. Looks like we have a lot to discuss once we get back, Pilot. The 5 W's and 1 H? I'll be real, I didn't get that one. Did I do something wrong? Shh, Pilot, buddy. Just stop. You're digging yourself a deeper hole with every word. Gregor quickly leaned in to warn Pilot, but it was too late. A nigh unnoticeable crease had formed along between Sod's brows. Prior to commencing this high-priority operation, it was necessary for us to find individuals with connections to H-Core. So we, as the preliminary observation unit, were put to the task, and we managed to establish a connection with an individual. Ooh, someone from my family? No, we tried, but your family's proved rather difficult nut to crack. However, as we were wasting our precious time with all our leads, Pilot pursued some unconventional method to establish this connection. I really didn't hold back on the compliments then, and this is how you... Our collaborator is a former employee of the Gia family. After leaving the family, he now runs a lodging business. Then it is likely he is far removed from family politics, less motivation for him to attack us due to conflicting interests. Yes, and according to Pilot's report, he still regards the Gia family positively. How can I not, considering the blessings they have given me? An unfamiliar voice butted into the conversation, as though to continue Sod's explanations. That's the most basic face I've ever seen. That's wild. Like, wow. I humbly present myself before the fellowship of young Master Bao Yu. Please, call me King Tao. He greeted us in the most polite fashion before bringing his hands together in an odd motion. Oh, is this how people greet each other here? Yep, it's called the Bao Quan gesture, bringing fist and palm together to express respect and peace towards the receiver. Aha! Knights greeted one another by shaking their hands with the self-same purpose. Forsooth, thou art indeed one possessed of a chivalrous spirit. Ah, indeed. Much did I worry about the qualities of people young master surrounded himself with, but I see he's in the company of those wise in the ways of the West. I prostrate myself before the vast breadth of your knowledge. What grand generosity it is to open ajar the waterways of wisdom to quench my barren lands. Ugh. Ew. Something feels familiar about this. Nah, she's been getting less and less verbose with bootlicking these days. Not like this guy for sure. That's true, he's kind of like, how should I put this, a bit much. What are you guys talking about? Communicating only by the sound of ticking clock. This is something I had already known ahead of time, yet. What a most curious exchange to behold in person. Brief this journey may be, yet I shall find myself thoroughly entertained in its entirety. Haha! Maybe it's the subtle sprinkles of disrespect that remind you of the usual flavor. Wait, is this about me? You dare! Ahem. Was all that bootlicking she did supposed to be a source of pride for her or something? Otis shook her head with clear distaste and strode towards me. We are not anything alike, executive manager. Never have I once had such empty flattery in your presence, filled with nothing but hot air and superlatives. I'll leave the guidance of these backstreets to him. Well, looks like this is where... Sod fell silent, her eyes lingering on Virgilius, who stood somewhat apart from the rest of us. So I finally get to meet the Red Gaze in the flesh. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. Effie would have loved to be here too. Manager... ... Virgilia seemed to sense her lingering gaze and walked towards us, after nodding slightly in her direction. Manager sawed. Let's not make this any longer than it has to be. I'm not happy to be helping you with your businesses. I'd much rather put this behind me as soon as possible. Oh please, it's our historic first collaborative operation, isn't it? Please spare a little more time with us. The guide bud's actually doing something? That guy? Shock of all ages. Virgilius doing something other than aura farming? Amazing. Yes, unfortunately, the LCC has our own business to take care of today, so I won't be accompanying the LCB this time, and the Red Gaze will be helping us to get it done. Taking Mephi there, vroom vroom. Maybe it's not that unfortunate, now that I think about it. I feel like every mission with the LCB has always been an uphill battle to get anything done. Well, you see, back then we were... just messing with you. I'm sure we'll have another chance to work together again. Boss, we don't got much time. Wait, before you go, I think you owe some explanations, Virgilius. I'll leave the details to Miss Faust. I'm quite busy. Very well. Virgilius turned around and left towards Mephistopheles with an oddly disgruntled expression. Well then, I'll see you around. Next time, I'll show y'all. I'll show you can carry my own weight. You know, oh boy, last time we really met, I was really so darn pathetic. Pilot, competence is shown through action, not words. Sod and Pilot give us a light nod before following Virgilius. Some students opened their mouths to speak, hesitated, and then closed them again. We let them go without a word. Perhaps we didn't know what we could say that wouldn't make this an awkward farewell. Very well, please, this way. Or maybe we were simply mindful of this guy who was responsible for the quality of our stay. Virgilius is like, what? I can't believe the company that hired me is forcing me to actually
나설
work.
만한 곳이어야 할 겁니다.
This is a flow that cannot be avoided. Singing voice, deep resentment ought to be washed away. For when the far one comes, betwixt the burnt doors shall a star fall astray. Are you sure we're going the right way? Yo, he's continuing the song. I don't like the sounds of these weird songs. The main streets are most likely teeming with those seeking to bring harm to the young master. We must venture an alternative path. And like he said, there weren't any skirmishes once we made it deeper into the dark alleyways. The lack of foot traffic would normally be pretty unsettling, but I guess that's what we needed at the moment. As for the song, it's a song that became rather popular in the backstreets in the recent months. The lyrics are pretty, ominous for a popular song. I'll be real, I already forgot the lyrics. Deep resentment ought to be washed away, for when the far one comes, betwixt the burnt doors shall a star fall astray. More star imagery? That's normally important stuff. It is a song that spread through word of mouth. It sings of how the decimated Kong family... this is not the place to discuss such matters. I will share the tale in a more appropriate setting later, should we come across it. Didn't know there was a song like that. This is the first time you've heard it too, Honglu? He's a posh git from a posh family. I doubt he's even set his precious feet in the back streets, so it's no wonder he hasn't heard anything like that. I have been to the back streets before, but Heathcliff isn't wrong. I did spend most of my time in my room. That is precisely because you are the most treasured one of them all, young master. Much like how the jade of the greatest worth is to be cherished, prized, and hidden in the deepest depths of one coffers where none shall reach. I'm like him? She's so distressed. To a lesser degree, particularly of late. So this guy used to work for the Jia family, huh? Do you know him, Honglu? Young master, is there something on my face? Honglu stopped himself as though a thought flashed in his head and glanced quietly in my direction. Then, it's nothing. Shall we continue walking down this road? Indeed, humble as I may be, I am very well versed in the roads of this area. Honglu shook his head at me as he casually changed the subject. It was as though he was trying to hide something we knew from King Tao. Should we be suspicious of something? ... He's a collaborator, but only a temporary one. A degree of caution would be advisable. Given Pilot's clear inexperience and naivete, we would do well to remain suspicious of this character. Faust and Otis approached me as Honglu was nodding along and chatting amicably with our guide. Well, looking back at our journey so far, I think we learned our lesson about blindly trusting every collaborator we come across. With this growing mistrust in my mind, I slowly made my distance from the guide before asking Faust the burning question. So, what was that back there with Virgilius? Something about him going off to help them out? The consequences of his actions at Wuthering Heights. Oh. His actions were a violation of one of the more important items in his contract with the company. He's simply taking responsibility for the breach of contract. I think back to the incident at the manor. Feels like such a long time ago now. He did something for us, breaking his contract, and the company was like, "Oh, you want to work now?" That's kind of a bunner. He really helped us out of a pickle. What? That's what they're dragging him away for? Is there a problem, honored guests? It's nothing. Nothing at all. No problem, right, Ryoshi? Kuh. As you, idiot. Marcel, can you carry Heathcliff for a bit? He's dead tired. It will be done. Heathcliff punched in the gut of the hilt of Ryoshu's sword, fell forward right into Marcel's welcoming shoulder. Rhodia? You know the kind of person I hate the most? The kind of dull people who can't read the room. Don't you feel the same way, Dante? Yep. I nodded enthusiastically, as something seemed to imply she wasn't really asking me a question. I don't think she was about to punch my lights out, but Rodian and Ryoshu judged correctly this time. Classified company information must not be discussed in the presence of an outsider. Reminds me of the time he got knocked out cold for a while because he kept asking questions without raising his hands. This guy just doesn't learn, huh? You successfully preserved the secrecy of classified information without spilling blood. I applaud this policy. I did good, didn't I? I'm just not a fan of how they're treating Heathcliff like dirt now. If it's no problemo, as you say, then that is well indeed. Yet I worry that it appears the problem has found us anyway. I stopped and looked around, realizing we were surrounded by a group of people wielding various weapons in their hands. What, happened to finding us a safer path? It's likely that my guidance has indeed given us a much safer path away from the more obvious skirmishes. However, to my great regret, it appears that the more observant of our enemies have tracked us here. Damn it, then what are you even here for? Isn't it your job to prevent this exact scenario? Let's leave the five-finger pointing for later. We're gonna have to take them all down. They must not be allowed to disseminate our current location. Exactly. Where are you slinking off to, Mr. King Tao? I must regrettably and humbly say that my talents in war are terribly lacking, so I intend to become scarce for a moment. Yet I have the utmost faith in the strength of our young master and honored guests in overcoming this adversity, so... King Tao was already standing so far away from the front lines that he was practically hiding behind me. Faust, anything you can tell us about these enemies? No, but a consultation with the Gesellschaft seems unnecessary if we're to determine whether negotiating with them is an option. They're coming. Marcel, wake Heathcliff up and set him down. It will be done. Smacks him again. Get up. Tough-looking stranger. More bleed. Yeah, just bleed stuff.
나아가주게.
Counters suck, but you know, you just live with them. Nothing you can do about it.
나아가주게.
Yeah, I've not super worried about these fights. Because, like, once again, in these early fights of the Intervallos, they're normally really ridiculously easy. Or maybe I'm just that strong, who knows? Gosh, I can't tell. That's just neutral, but you know, oh well. I believe in Rodion, she'll win anyways. Pow. Oh, huh. She stacked way faster than I thought she would.
지시를 마주하고 겸용하라.
깨달았나?
3 of 10.
잠든 그의 길을
내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리한다. 깨달았나?
Yeah, all of them just have like so much shield. It's great. I love the DJ identities. They're like relatively simple to use. You don't have to think, and you just kind of win. Oh, well, that didn't matter.
나아가주게.
I wonder if this is another one of the like beat the fight in 10 rounds ones. I didn't actually look. I also don't know the name of this chapter. I don't think I looked at that either. Oh well, I'm sure it wasn't anything important.
그들 또한 잠들게.
Turn 6. Oh well.
부족해 차려졌지 않나.
찢어 밝혀주마. 비명을 질러라.
Pow. Like that the floor is just made of street signs. Hostiles in the immediate vicinity have been eliminated. Our collaborator, who had been hiding far from the battle, quickly ran up to our side as soon as the fight ended. Dot dot dot. Are you unhurt, young master? Yep, I'm totally fine. Of course, our honored guest's martial skill was all exceptionally brilliant, but, young master, your light was the brightest even among the incandescent. This humble servant could not hold back his tears at this wondrous sight. To witness such excellent martial arts from none other than the young master himself, what an unexpected surprise. But don't the children of the Gia family undergo all kinds of strict training regimes from childhood? It was simply my assumption the young master had ceased his trainings once he departed from the family. Anyways, how do you think they tracked us down anyway? About that, it appears we weren't exactly tracked down. Perhaps it may be that the ilk who lurk in these parts of the backstreet recognized the young master's venerable countenance. I don't think my face is that well known. The family hierarchy evaluations are nigh. Every soul living in Hong Yuan must know the face of the young master who's loved by every elder of the family. Must be they are under the assumption that you're carrying something of great value. Family hierarchy, huh? Didn't Jiazi-chun say something about the heirs back then? They all assumed wrong then. I didn't bring anything precious like that. The elders might be looking for... Young master, even now? I just couldn't care less about it, that's all. Besides, many of my siblings are much better fit to be the family hierarchy than I am. Huh, that's... well, that is indeed a relief. A relief, is it? Well, but of course. It is a highly dangerous endeavor to partake in the family hierarchy evaluations, so it is of great relief to know the young master is not putting himself in unnecessary danger. I guess that could be a relief, sort of. Whew, now that we took them all down, there shouldn't be any more in the way, right? Greg, can we not jinx ourselves for 1 second, please? Heh. Why are you laughing, Roshu? Now I'm worried. Please, do not concern yourselves any further. We'll take a more clandestine path. I guarantee a safe and easy passage to our destination. I still have a hard time buying that. The lay of this place should constitute a perfect place to set up an ambush in most places, yet you claim this to be the safer path? Yet I must ask you to place your faith in this humble servant, for Hong Yuan is not like most places. Fine, for now. Otis shut her eyes for a moment, out of retorts, then turned to look at Ishmael. Hey, Ishmael, you must have a pamphlet of this place handy, don't you? No way, you're actually going to read it? Ishmael is in heaven right now. Why else would I ask? No, I mean, how could I not be caught off guard when almost a whole year of getting brushed off by everyone every time I plead with them to read the damn pamphlets? Like hell, did no one think to... I'll find my own intel if you're just going to ramble on and on with your grievances. Okay, fine, here it is. Otis opened the pamphlet and began intently glaring at its texts, as though she didn't want to miss even the smallest detail of information in there. Suspicion clear on her knitted brows. Ishmael stays winning?
착각하지 마라. 해파, 거태. 내 놈들 덕분에 내가 강해진 게 아니다.
What was it called? Ambush.
내가
Oh, okay.
강하기에
Pretty
내
basic.
놈들을 휘두르는 거지.
Okay, John? I'm just gonna assume I'm right.
와일드 헌트야.
Well, it seems things didn't go well. We were on a desperate run, all while fighting off hordes upon hordes of enemies. Wait, what happened to safe and easy passage? Explain this shite. It appears the young master's radiant countenance was made known. I thought we were finding a more clandestine passage. How come we're getting jumped by even more enemies? As I've said, the young master's radiant... At least try to give a little variation to your excuses. I cannot so easily say he's being untruthful, given the disjointed allegiance the enemy is attacking us. Otis played with the pamphlet in her hand, clearly frustrated but unable to establish anything concrete. For people without a clear allegiance to attack a member of the Gia family. Looks like everyone in the backstreet's been getting pretty plucky while I was away. Back then I couldn't even catch a glimpse of their faces. They'd all be on their hands and knees whenever we walked past. Ah, what a wonderful change. Oh, shove that wonderful change up your arse, you bloody loon. How much longer do we get there? My Kejan is near. Calm your worries. Our guide seemed oddly calmer now than he did at the beginning of the journey. Did he really get numb to all this violence that fast, or... Speaking of which, what's a Kejan? It's a term commonly used to refer to taverns, inns, or equivalent places of lodging in this region. Lodging, huh? Like a hotel? Ooh, it's gotta be pretty fancy then, huh? Do they serve like complimentary snacks and drinks like the warp train? Do they do that on warp trains? Not sure about that, but it seems like Kajans also serve alcohol and food alongside their lodging services. Maybe we can get a meal in there. Oh, huh. Phew. Hopefully won't be attacked there like this. Residential non-aggression taboo. Any mutual acts of violence inside a residential building is within this particular area and floor of Hong Yuan a taboo. A taboo. We may rest easy within then. I saw Faust's eyes slightly twitch, as though she just heard the most ridiculous thing, but I guess I'll ask her about it later. Phew, man. If it's for some kind of family hierarchy or family head selection contest, why couldn't they just save all this fighting until then? 'Cause it would be too late. Late how? Every hierarch candidate must have brought incredibly precious treasures with them. It would be nice if they believed that their treasure is the most precious of them all, but everyone's going to try and take each other down just to be sure. I see, just in case someone else brought something even better than their own. And might as well kill them too, for the sake of convenience. Is that how folks in your family think? What kind of thinking is that? But other families don't seem too different from mine. Damn. Deepest apologies for intruding upon this most enthralling conversation. However, we may be inviting even further trouble by dallying here. With that, the guide pulled out a watch to check the time. It'll be nighttime soon. They really did just give him the exact same expression as Otis.
나아가주게.
Bonk.
편히 쉬시게.
She actually lost that? That's crazy. Dang, a lot of my characters lost. Well, that's not good.
이 또한 지식이 되도록.
꿰뚫려라.
Ow, bleed. And paralyze.
내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리한다.
Huh.
대가리다 딱.
Man, he really is just getting like completely screwed over here, isn't he? Zero coins. That's wild. He finally gets to attack. Hooray. Let's go, Mersal.
왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라.
That attack is so needlessly cinematic. I love it. Wildhunt Heathcliff is just over the top for no reason.
지식을 마주하고 겸용하라.
기적해 차려졌지 않나. 거대. 직접 알게 함이라.
Muscle wound? Is that what that attack was called?
지금이다. 내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리. 따뜻하다.
무차 잠들어. 목을 내놓고 있도록.
I have so many more attacks than them. I almost feel bad. Almost.
속에서
깨달았나?
무차 잠들어.
편히 쉬시게. 잠든 그대를 기릴 테니.
I love the little pose he does at the end.
지식을 마주하고 경지에서 도피하지 말라.
Let's go. Now, here we are. Is this the place? After running through alleyway after alleyway, after turning corner after corner, we finally came across the sight of several small buildings tightly built next to one another. At the center of them was a building lit with red lamps, adorned with a door plate with complicated-looking scribbles over it. This is shoddier than I expected. Hey, isn't this place a bit too trashy to house our precious young master? That's not our building. Please, look this way to see where our honored guests will be staying for the night. I knew it. I heard so much from Hong Lu about the splendor, all the... Huh? We follow King Tao's figure and arrive at a small warehouse of sorts, exterior painted in black. That looks smaller than even Mephistopheles. Can we all even fit in there? Hey, this place looks trashy as heck, even for us, let alone your young master. This is the nearest Kazan we could afford to stay in, at least among the ones I can manage. Yet its location in the backstreets heavily limits the level of decency it can afford. My deepest and sincerest apologies, young master. Don't worry, we can't always sleep in decent places. It looks just fine for an overnight stay to me. Are you nuts? Can that thing even fit all of us in there? Much did I wish to guide the honored guests to the family mansion in the central zone. However, the time... Oh, the sweeping wave. Doesn't that start at 3:13 in the morning? I feel like we got plenty of time to get there. Exactly, don't we have more than enough time to get to the family mansion? According to the H-Core travel guide, the central arrow is only like an hour away from here. Has the honored guest traveled to District 8 before? Well, no, this is my first time here, but then one must ask how the honored guest could claim to have full understanding of a place merely by flipping through a book when she hasn't had to contend with it in person. Innumerable, unpredictable changes await in this teeming jungle of buildings. The ever-shifting structures, constantly changing paths, ambushes from foolish yet vicious syndicates, or even offices of the backstreets. Oh, we are beset by danger from all sides. Such bold, flippant approach to predicting the phenomena of this place is to court death. Even a toddler must know that. One fails to disguise his utter sorrow at the inadequacy of her wisdom. Is it just me, or are we all thinking back to the time Ishmael back at the Great Lake? Zip it, Dante! But if the guidebook lists a path, does it not imply that it's technically possible to reach there in that time? Otis suddenly took a step forward. In her hand was the H-Core travel pamphlet that Ishmael was talking about. I have faith that our executive manager would lead us in your directionally challenged stead. They would be able to lead us to our destination before night falls. Me? This does not appear to have been discussed aforehand. Very well, allow me to speak freely without frills. My responsibility is to bring the honored guest to the central zone and to ensure the young master's safety. It is indeed technically possible to reach the family mansions before the night in the backstreets commences. Technically. Yet, not even one iota of danger to the young master shall be permitted. The mission that has been so graciously bestowed upon this humble servant is not to guide the young master with haste, but to guide him with the utmost safety. Oh! It is said that those engaging in strategies and plans must remain wary of losing their sight of purpose, to stubbornly forge on toward the family mansion in lieu of necessary intel to see when those mobs of assailants would end to wrongly prioritize the journey over the destination. You, wonderful, truly impressive. You have all the qualities of someone I would trust with my life when devising a stratagem. This is the most fitting attitude for those who genuinely wish to be the best for those they serve. Really? You're just gonna start going along with him all of a sudden? I have misunderstood your intentions, truly. They sparked my ire by comparing some of your choice words with my very own. Yet now my eyes have been opened to the honest loyalty that lies within your heart. Ha ha ha! This humble servant did not imagine even in his wildest dreams that there would be someone who understands the fathoms of his loyalty. It seems the young master has certainly gained an eye for allies and fellowships. This is a cause for much relief in my heart. That's... Ha ha ha, listen to him. This one knows how to jest. They're basically best buds now, huh? I might have lost my cool for a moment there. Anyway, this man speaks true. It is highly likely we would be exposed to attacks of similar nature were we to continue moving at this time. She's just fully on his side now, isn't she? That's when I realized that she was looking in my direction. The exaggerated smile had all but completely faded from her face, replaced with an odd but dead serious expression. When our gazes locked, she nodded. She must be completely turned around by that guy. Is this her way of saying, so long, I'm gonna quit and go work with this guy now? Thanks for everything? No, Dante, come on. And as for the hotel, it's still much better than sleeping in an outdoor tent barracks. We should be able to relieve ourselves of some fatigue here before moving on. Did you not earlier insist on continuing your search for a better accommodation with the greatest vehemence, Miss Otis? Yeah, whatever, we get your point. Let's go inside. Whew, my humblest self can only behold your generous acceptance of this insufficient lodging with the deepest gratitude. After all that serious talk, the man seemed oddly relieved to hear our decision as he brought his fist and palm together. The architecture of today mustn't be judged with such haste merely by an observation of the exterior. The interior may hold aught to surprise of. Worry not. With radiance surrendered, wouldn't that be nice? We made our way into the building. Oh, this actually ain't so bad. It's clean in here. The place presents a rather classical aesthetic. The landscape paintings lining the walls give off a rather sophisticated mood. It's much more spacious inside than it looks from the outside. Did they use some kind of space expansion technology in here too? No, it seems the building only appeared small due to the density of the structures in proximity. Well, the door is now open. Should my presence be required, I shall be in the small shed next to this building. Please do converse freely. The man smiled awkwardly and quietly excused himself as the excitement among the sinners began to grow. Meanwhile, Honglu stood a fair distance from the guide, quietly watching his face as he left. His expression was enigmatic, as if he were gazing upon the clouds, flowers, or even the wind. Yet there was no light in those eyes, as if they beheld a storm cloud, a desolate field of wilted flowers, or a howling, destructive gale. Do you suspect something, Honglu? So I decided to ask. Not yet, I don't think. Huh? Not yet? So, big brother, something felt off to you too, huh? That's when I caught a familiar voice. Wow, Zichun, it's you, and so soon, too. Yeah, I told you I had a feeling we'd be meeting each other soon enough. I just completely misread that. Have you been well, young master? I'm so glad to see you're doing well, Mr. Wei. Oh, wait, don't tell me you're staying here too, Zichun. I normally wouldn't even set foot in a place like this, but I ran into some kind of large-scale construction on my way back to the family mansion. Had to come in through the back streets. Well, that's not suspicious at all. So we weren't the only ones troubled with a random construction site? Whoa, hail to thee! Gah! The confident look on Zichun's face was immediately replaced with that of alarm. Did she lose her memories again? Is she with you? No, Don Quixote's the same as always. Ahem. But she looks like such an airhead. Young Zichun, well, wouldst thou accompany me to the lounge for but a moment, so we may share a moment of catching up? ... Oh, yeah, actually, let's do that. Hold on. She and Zichun seemed to hesitate for a moment, staring at Don Quixote after hearing their memories were intact, before walking right up to her. I like that idea. Shall we? Wei, why don't you go find a room for me to stay in while I talk some things out with her? What? You wanted to do some catching up, right? 'Tis, Manager Squire. Loss of critical personnel may be a cause for disciplinary action, Dante. I don't think there's anything wrong with making friends, though. Looks like Zichun really likes Don Quixote if she's comfortable enough to tease her like that. It's not Don Quixote she likes. She's obviously just wants Don Quixote's power she saw back then. My lady, this is hardly an appropriate place for... Fine, I'll try again later. We'll get some sleep. I'm heading in too. Zichun sighed with a bit of disappointment before heading into the lobby. Well, let's all head inside now. So I and the rest of the sinners followed her into the lodging. So the rest of the sinners and I... Come on, Dante. Use some proper grammar.
끝인가? 정말 한 톨도 남지 않았나?
Suspicion.
이 분노가 끝나지 않는 거지.
I like taking a look at the backgrounds, because they can have some like pretty cool details. You know, I don't see any right now, but you know, they might be there at some point. Sinclair. Everyone was busy looking around and commenting on various things in our lodging, but Sinclair appeared to be the most anxious of them all. Sinclair? Something in here stands out. Like, imagine an ideal picture. Did you call? Yi-sang, come on. Oh, I missed that joke, Yi-sang. That's not what I'm not... anyway. Am I the only one who feels like something stands out like a sore thumb from the whole picture? Oh yeah, glad you brought it up. I didn't say anything because I thought it was just me. Rhodia, so what's so off about this place? Isn't it obvious? Where'd all the complimentary snacks go? What's the weird mystery table at the center of the room? Huh? That is kind of weird though. What's that table doing there? Its saturated colors are quite the pleasant sight to behold. So, is it any better inside? What the hell is this hideous table? The kerfuffle sparked by the particularly unsightly piece of indoor furniture calmed somewhat once everyone had made it inside the building. Of course, no one was able to discern the real purpose of that table yet. Every step on the floor leaves black residue on the shoes. Not only the floor, touching the walls leaves an unidentified black substance on one's fingers. Not to mention how the walls ripple in an odd fashion. What could possibly be the construction of this structure? Well, my guess is the maintenance staff has been slacking. Maybe, but why is everything so neatly organized if that's the case? I've been to enough seedy establishments to tell when a place has been gone a while without a tidy up. Ahem. At least it appears that each room is furnished with a bed. Well, this is far from optimal, executive manager. We may be able to rest here. Huh, I guess they really didn't have time to clean up. Jizi-chan, the last person to walk in after having taken her time to examine the area outside the lobby, stared blankly around the room with an aghast expression. Not even sure what to say about this ridiculous negligence. Then found her room after leaving a scathing remark. It ain't the first time we're sauntering around with some shady business in it. Let's just cross the bridge when we come to it, yeah? I guess. Anyone could tell there's something definitely wrong about that guy. Some sinners, including Heathcliff, had already slumped to the floor, vociferously expressing their desire to rest with a collective sigh of exhaustion. Well, it is pretty weird, but at least we have a roof over our heads. In that case, Dante, perhaps this may be a good time to announce today's close of business. Huh, I've never made this announcement outside the bus before. Oh, right. I hereby claim today's close of business for the sinners. Hold. One moment. One second. Bonk. Okay. Sorry about that. Understood. Thank you kindly. Starting now, you all will be given a maximum of 12 hours to partake in sleep and rest. The duration of the subject to change. Have a good night. As soon as she finished, the sinners began to relax in their own ways, some stumbling into their rooms, while others lingered to speculate on the bizarre table at the center of the room. ... Save for Otis, that is. Got something to say, Otis? Yes, executive manager. It's about our guide, King Tao. Oh, your new best friend from earlier? Seemed like you guys were getting along pretty well. What? That is simply untrue. Did you not see the signal I gave you earlier? What signal? Oh, you mean when you nodded slightly in my direction? Indeed, that individual has an informational advantage over us when it comes to this locale. Regardless of how sound the accusations we came up with were, he would have been able to explain them right away using his familiarity with the region. I thought, as the party with an informational disadvantage, it'd be wise to feign camaraderie and friendship with that individual and go along with their plans, while trying to dig out as much intel as possible. I seriously thought that suspicious guy totally won you over. Executive manager, I've been in this business for many years. How could you even imagine I'd be fooled by an amateur spy that's so overtly It's nothing. Otis's disappointment was palpable, but she stopped herself, as though she remembered that there were more important matters at hand. While it is uncertain as to how long that individual will be accompanying us, it'd be reasonable to speculate he approached LCCB with the explicit purpose of eliminating Honglu, Ji about you. I resent the fact that it was Pilot, that inexperienced greenhorn, who somehow conveniently came across this connection as enough evidence supporting this suspicion. That's also true. Faust also has information to share. Faust joined the conversation after listening to us discuss for some time. A review of every known taboo has failed to identify one he called residential non-aggression taboo that universally prohibits acts of violence within residential areas. Then that also has to be. It's too early to come to conclusions regarding that matter. It appears that this area, Hongyuan, has taboos that change depending on your location within its territory. However, considering our other circumstantial evidence, we can come to a conclusion that he is most likely lying to us. Your assessment cannot be denied. In that case, we must already be deep within the enemy's machinations. The constant stream of random assailants we faced earlier was also likely part of their plan. It may very well be that this building itself is a trap, yet we lack the intelligence about this particular backstreets to be certain. However, we do have one minor advantage. It seems they've severely underestimated our capabilities, given the low caliber of the assailants they decided to send after us. One thing we can capitalize on is the mutual lack of intel. Keep our guard up, remain alert, and we should be able to navigate our way out of this trap, Executive Manager. Okay, I get it now. I'm sorry about the misunderstanding. Honestly, I didn't know who or what to trust. And I'd appreciate if you could trust me fully next time. Otis bowed politely and returned to her room. Faust and I chatted a little more about King Tao and his plans, but our discussion ended without bearing much fruit. That room was definitely bugged, so it's unfortunate that they all just were talking freely there. Although I guess they wouldn't be able to understand the manager anyways. Witnessing. Witnessing what exactly? I realized Hong Lu was missing as I was spending time chatting with the sinners. I didn't notice him going into his room, so as I walked to the exit, about to look for Hong Lu outside, and ran into Jiazi-chan and Wei, who decided to stay in the room close to the door. It's getting late. Where are you going alone without a guard? Oh, just looking for Hong Lu. Right, I can't understand what you're saying. Oh, right. When it comes to conversing with the sinners, I find there are two types of people. The first type usually says whatever's on their mind without pausing for or caring to hear my reply. Given that this type of person isn't actually looking to communicate with me, that simplifies things a little on my end. However, it's also oddly insulting, as it seems as though they don't recognize me as a human, but rather a wall, or a clock on a wall. The other type is the one that reads me so well they might be able to hear what I'm saying. Virgilius falls into the latter category. He recognizes the pitch of my tics and talks, reads my body language, or sometimes even claims to see my expressions like how Don Quixote does. And Jiazi-chan, who saw through me on that short exchange. Okay, let's see. Just looking to get in for some early morning air? Oh, Does your prosthetic head even have a respiratory function? Wouldn't have guessed it from the way it looks. Did not belong in either category. No, not really. I'm just looking for Hong Lu because I haven't seen him in a while. You're shaking your head, so no. Then are you looking for something to eat? She's a new one, the type that tries to figure out what I'm saying without asking for help. My lady, would it not be wise to wake or find someone who may be able to translate? They would have done that themselves if it were something important. I'm kind of curious, though. What was that hand gesture you made when you first asked? You, brought your index finger up to your cheeks? Well, Hong Lu's always smiling. So I thought maybe I could simulate his smile to convey that I'm looking for him. Perhaps in an effort to express cuteness or beauty? What? No, I was just trying to express a smiling face. Oh no, this isn't going to be easy, is it? Oh, they're tick-tocking a lot more vigorously. Hey, I think you're onto something. This conversation's starting to veer into a completely unintended territory. After a bit of trial and error. I see, you're looking for my big brother, huh? We took some very roundabout ways, but I was eventually able to get her to understand what I was trying to say. Well, if he's who you're looking for, that's easy. You should be able to find him by the lounge back there. I doubt he's got very far from there, if he even left. So that's where you're trying so hard to communicate. Jiazi-chan was, strangely enough, disappointed and dispirited by my reply. I did have something to tell you too, but never mind. I feel like the mood's been ruined. Let's talk about this another time. I was curious, but it would take ages for me to ask how she's feeling, so I nodded to express my gratitude before heading back to the entrance. And found Hong Lu gazing at the hazy scenery out the opaque window. What are you doing here? People watching. There were some people stumbling through the streets outside. As I stared out the window at the scene, Hong Lu seemed to sense what I was thinking and began. Are you worried for me, Dante? Well, yeah. It's your turn, Hong Lu. It really is. I'm back at H-Core, and everyone's talking about the family hierarchy selection. But you don't have to worry about me at all, because I did not wish for anything from this company. Really? I'm not like Yi Sang. I'm not hiding my true feelings. No one gave me a wonderful promise like they'd help me recover my torn and broken wings. I joined only to have some new experience, that's all. But we do know that there's something going to happen, whatever it might be. Something that'll shake you to your very core, even if you didn't wish for anything. Going through something like that could. Probably, yes, but it's okay. I'm used to being led by the will of others anyway. No matter what happens here, I can't do this like everyone else. Because that's how it's always been. Whatever happens to me or to those around me, I only... A loud, boisterous bellow suddenly cut Hong Lu off, even before he could finish his sentence. Oi, let go of me. Just listen to that sod talking and tell me I'm not supposed to get mad at that. Dang it, lower your voice. What are you guys doing back there? Gregor and Heathcliff, who were most likely hiding behind the entrance door, tumbled into view. I knew I shouldn't have come here with this guy. Couldn't you be patient for even a few more minutes before bursting out here? How long have you two been listening? From the very start, of course. I thought he was finally making some sense at first, but what's that? You're used to following others' will? Haha, I didn't mean to irk you, Heathcliff. I'm only telling the truth. Bloody hell, I'm about to burst a vessel. Oi, buggy bloke. That's crazy. Am I supposed to practice patience after listening to that drivel? I think I'm practicing plenty of patience just by you calling me buggy bloke out of nowhere, so yeah, you are. That's not what I... Finally, some silence. Anyways, sorry about listening in, fellas. We'll let you in on some big secret if you let this one slide, though. What's the secret? Gregor rubbed his arm awkwardly as I stared at him in silence, then pointed to a pillar in an exaggerated motion. Guess who's hiding behind that pillar, Manager Bud? With that, two familiar figures tumbled into view from behind the pillar. How could you betray us like that, Gregor? B-W-A-H-A. Bad, weak, and highly annoying. Good night, snooze fests, she says. Huh? Did I get that wrong? I never said G-N-S. When did you get an F-U? Yushu looked at Sinclair with some interest before slicing open the ceiling above the entrance. And with an uncharacteristically wet noise for something cutting through a wall, a black ink-like substance dripped onto the floor, followed by Rhodia and Otis crashing down after it. GTFO. Wow, I didn't realize I'd garnered such an audience for my story. Executive Manager, the sole reason I followed you out here was for the purpose of protection, as I was concerned for your safety. I'm not like the others who followed you merely to sate their curiosities. Me? I was just bored. Then shall we continue the conversation, Dante? Everyone, back to your rooms now. Half of them were there. The Heisho Pack. Oh no, I have to use Gregor.
자,
주먹으로
영광입니다.
단피가 떨어질
Well.
때군요.
I'll get a good Gregor ID someday. After that little kerfuffle, just as everyone was scattering to their rooms, Otis suddenly began to vehemently oppose leaving me all on my own. You absolutely certain, Executive Manager? Seriously, don't worry about it. I usually took the night watch on the bus anyway. That's true, however. We're currently in an uncharted territory for our team. We don't have much experience sleeping at a place where our safety isn't an absolute guarantee. Hey, we're literally right next door to them. It'll take less than 5 seconds for us to come over when something happens. Do you not know that every second matters in emergencies? Now, babushka the cap. Let's get you out of here. Now the familiar sequence of events and words played out, and they eventually left my room, gently closing the door behind them. Finally, some peace and quiet. I sit on the corner of the bed, surrounded by silence. I allow my shoulders to slump for once. I don't need to sleep like the sinners do, but fatigue doesn't go away on its own. I needed some time to relax and empty my thoughts every once in a while. While I've gotten somewhat used to the pain, it still hurts like hell when I rewind the sinner's time. And the longer this journey got, the more frequent and severe the sinner's injuries became. They did get stronger, that's for sure, but so did our enemies, which means that my clock is always turning and turning without a moment's rest. So I think of the star. Before the great gates which I face with every revival, I witness its intricate engravings and feel its silent vibrations. Even after a whole year, I'm still no closer to understanding what they were supposed to represent, but by emptying my thoughts and just taking in the sights, I find myself calming down. Also, the wind is quite cool and crisp tonight. Wait, that's weird. Wind? What's this sudden chill? Something opened the window, but there's no way this gentle breeze could have unlatched and left my window open like that. And if it did, it would have made a pretty loud noise. Besides, the chill isn't coming from in front of me. I slowly turn around and look at where the window is supposed to be, only to see a melted wall and an intruder slinking through its newfound opening. Who are you? As though driven by some unknown survival instinct, I rolled off the bed. But there was already a blade right where my neck and head met, its steel a shearing cold. Just a little nudge and I'd be dead, even before I could make a tick. Remember how worried Otis was to leave me alone. I thought she was just being paranoid. I should have trusted her judgment. Just as I was getting ready for my final struggle, my final moments filled with regret about not listening to Otis's advice. What a pathetically thin blade. Too delicate to have the clock CIH, don't you think? Ryoshu leapt from the ceiling and deflected the assailant's dagger away from me. Ryoshu! Snuck in thinking I was about to see something interesting, but you're just some beast with steel. I look at the ceiling torn open, dripping the same viscous paint-like fluid I saw earlier during my conversation with Hong Lu. Executive Manager, are you unharmed? And Otis peeking out from the gap. I, Otis, was the one who instructed Ryoshu that the ceiling had a room to hide in. Remember that. Shut up and help me. Oh, I thought this was just some beast with steel. I could have cut this beast in half, sword and all, had I not been on the bus. All your abilities are diminished with the amount you hired by this company, equally defanged and depowered, if you will. I suddenly recalled Hohenheim's commentary back at the LCE. I had a vague notion of what he meant, but now I was really feeling it. NFW, what is happening? Just as Ryoshu was struggling to stop that one blade, the intruder pulled out another dagger with their other arm and slashed at Ryoshu's head. A beast of a Heisho pack. The intruder would have cut her throat had Wei not burst through my door. Who wields you now? I don't suppose dialogue is an option. Light enters not the vast garden, yet falls a star into its fathoms still. Ah, no! The intruder reached into his clothes, muttering an odd invocation. Little shit, a talisman. Wait, get it together. My lady. Just as the intruder's muttering began to grow intense, Jiazi-chan leapt into my room and struck the stranger with a fan. You can let that bastard finish that stupid spell? They almost activated the Q-core talisman. Apologies, my lady. It seems I still remain somewhat bound by that spell. Listen, you're no longer a Heisho. You serve me now, got it? You don't have to let those things control you anymore. Yes, my lady. My apologies. I fell limply to the bed with a sudden alleviation of stress and pressure. Hey, are you? I can't understand them anyway. I managed to stop the assassin before he laid a hand on them, fortunately. Got it. I don't think there's anyone else here. Let's switch the lights on. Click. When the lights came on, we saw... This one's from the Mao branch, isn't it? There's a black bamboo hat wearing assassin on the ground. The walls appeared solid before we all went to sleep, were now melting away as if they were viscous fluid. There is something wrong with this building. I knew that they must have done something to the building, but how is a Heisho here? This whole operation's gotta be spearheaded by someone with real power. This isn't just an ambush from an overexcited family high-rank contestant. What I don't understand is, why the Mao branch? There are better Heisho branches to use if all they wanted was to cut off the clock's head. But they must have had a different purpose, huh? Correct. This one is from the Mao branch of the Heisho packs, which means more of them must have infiltrated this building. Though not at the scale of the Z branch, the Mao branch always moves in groups. Therefore, their goal must be to kill every guest staying in this Kazan, including you, my lady. Then, we gotta get moving. We can't let them surround us if they get even a chance at surviving this. Dante! Singe burst into my room, slamming the door open again. Thou'rt. Thank me later. If we don't move our asses, we're all as good as dead. Wei, yes. We don't have time to contact the main forces of our faction at the family mansion. You know what to do when we're at a numerical disadvantage, right? It will be done, my lady. Jiazi-chun and Wei immediately stormed out of the room as they saw my sinners enter, as though they'd been waiting here for my protection. Don Quixote and Cracker stood red-faced on the edge. Marcel was covered in battle wounds, and Otis wore an inscrutable expression. I stand before you in shame. Do I have to borrow the hands of another to protect the executive manager? Tisk. No, I should listen to what you said. Extrapolating from the pattern by which the walls were disintegrated, it is likely they utilized the identical means of infiltration for each sinner. Oh, right. Were you attacked by bamboo-headed assailants too? Their ranks numbered many, Manager Squire, yet, for how many of them there were, they were unsettlingly silent. Verily, we were almost... Not almost. I saw my way here that some of us did get killed, impaled straight through the guts. So what he said about fighting indoors was a taboo. Yes, a lie. How utterly cowardly and unjust of these vile cur to strike from the shadows. Alas, now is not the moment to ruminate upon their villainy. Correct. Besides, there's more of them waiting to sink their blades into us. Huh. So what separates the Mao branch, I wonder? Repressed bloodlust. Bloodthirst. Offense level -10, defense level -10, level 60. Huh. Rupture with unbreakable coins. Use this coin on cracking. When gaining a rupture triggered by getting a 10+ speed, lose one stack and gain more rupture count. It's your stack to take lightning damage and rupture potency on itself when the effect expires. Gain 5 haste? Huh. So they're rupture gaming, I guess. My character ID is so bad. Oh well. No point complaining. No, Gregor.
이 또한 지식이 되도록.
먹어치워라.
Oh no, Otis.
꿰뚫려라.
To be fair, like I have some better Otis items for like fights like this. I just haven't leveled any of them up.
대가리 딱 떼도 이렇게 찾아졌지 않나.
Yeah, and because they're so fast, they're getting free attacks off. This is so sad.
지식을 마주하고 겸연하라.
Yikes. Well, that's one down at least. I mean, I may as well. Not really necessary, like at all, but you know, it's fun.
완벽한 한 발을 위해
하얗고 슬픈 아이들. 그저 해답을 피할 수밖에.
Bang, bang, bang.
내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리한다. 꿰뚫려라.
They aren't dying, which is interesting. You're just sort of
이 또한 지식이 되도록.
leading.
지금이다. 해골바닥. 내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리한다. 내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리한다.
Victory. So presumably these are some sort of like
착각하지 마라.
mind-wiped super soldiers.
내 놈들 덕분에 내가 강해진 게 아니다.
Presumably they're also connected to the
단기가 떨어질
bulls
때군요.
somehow. like, they're completely covered, so you wouldn't be able to see any of the mutations that they may or may not have. I want to win all my first couple clashes just so that they don't get any faster. No, Gregor, come on. Yeah. I will admit, that's like a really cool attack animation.
이 또한 지식이다. I apparently lost like all my clashes that turn, which is not fun, but you know, you live and you learn. 이 또한 지식이다.
Aha!
지식을 마주하고 겸용하라. 이 또한 지식이다.
Pow! That's not good. Yeah, these guys are pretty strong. There we go.
완벽한 한 발을 위해 격발
지식을 마주하 무지에서 도피하지 말라.
The multitude tightens its
좋은
hold.
것들이 옥죄어 온다.
Get bound, idiot.
돌발 장전.
명령대로.
고통. 따뜻. 꿰뚫려라.
Pow.
격발. 내 죄는 내가 알아서
I just
처리.
am using 2 lob core IDs. We're safe for now. Someone tells me they're not fighting us at full force. At least we routed them, so hopefully that means something. Ah, where'd Don Quixote go? Hark, for I am here! Don Quixote rushed into my room from the outside hallway. I had gone to espy if the other sinners had suffered as we have. Verily, they were indeed targeted as well. Most defended themselves well against the curs, and shall be here with post-haste. Yet, not everyone survives, huh? Young Sinclair and Yi Sang, while it appears they have risen and battled, they were caught unawares by our foes. 'Tis likely their demise came soon after tripping over each other's foot. How embarrassing. And young Heathcliff, isn't that fellow our resident mob fight expert? How'd they even get him? Didn't get me, mate. I'm good as new. Heathcliff? So you so gobsmacked, lass? I recall a blade piercing young Heathcliff in the back of his head. Didst thou turn the clock for him already, Manager Squire? No, not yet anyway. Blimey, he sits with this funny itch at the back of my head. Heathcliff rubbed the back of his head, then crumpled to the floor mid-sentence. Heathcliff's not breathing anymore. He's dead. How do you even manage to walk all the way over here with a hole in his head? Young Heathcliff! The other citizens are starting to gather, manager. As pathetic as this force may be, we cannot spare any hands at the moment, executive manager. We must also join the others as soon as possible and assist them. There are sounds of altercations coming from the lobby. Gotcha. The clock turns as it always does. Sometime later. Whoa, please hold on a moment. You. I can still see some people inside the lobby, which was also in the bizarre process of melting away. Whew. Among them I noticed Jiazi-chun clasping against a figure wearing a bamboo hat. Going on the offensive already, huh? How come the big shot in control of the Heisho pack decided to come after small fries like us? And behind the black bamboo hatted wearing assassin stood. I see you've tracked me down, so certain of your own safety, but my master's already prepared countermeasures. There stood King Tao, our supposed collaborator who led us here, and Wei, who was threatening him with a sword. So you were behind this. Ah, it's you. I just thought that you'd be planning something like this, but you lacked the patience to pull it off. You're quite observant. I thought I'd completely won you over. You must know that at H-Corps, there's but one path to survival and riches. Choose a family hierarch candidate and serve them with utter loyalty. But who in their right mind would serve young Master Bao Yu? He who has grown up with no hardship. He who doesn't possess a single speck of ambition. You shut your bloody mouth, yeah? And you, rich boy, oi, you just gonna sit there and let this bloke talk straight to your face? But he's right, I don't have any ambitions. Got no self-respect? What do you have anyway? Okay, everyone, shut up for a second. He's obviously taunting you. Stop indulging him. Wei, speak. I know that you have no means to wield a Heisho pack, so speak. Which master did you choose to serve? Who controls them? Ah, so they are curious. Stay your sword, Zilu. Another unfamiliar voice calls from the shadows. Young master, are you certain this is wise? Worry not. They're destined to be swept away by the morning dew anyway. The trajectory of their fate shall not alter course, were they to witness me. The voice soon reveals himself from the shadows, walking into the light with casual, assured gait. Huh? Seriously? You? I see, you're... Allow me to grace you ignoramuses with my exalted name. I am Yihua of the Shi family. You may know me as a very prominent candidate to the throne of the family hierarch. Huh.
착각하지 마라. 해파, 거태. 내 놈들 덕분에 내가 강해진 게 아니다. 내가 강하지 내 놈들을 휘두르는
We're
거지.
at 23 right now. Oh no. Oh no. It's the big brother. That's probably not good. Unexpected foe. Yeah. Clear within 15 turns.
책임은 모두. 자, 책임은 모두.
주먹으로 매만지면
자, 해골바가 책임은 모두.
No, okay, wait. So
내가
bang,
자, 책임은
bang,
모두.
bang, bang,
주먹으로
bang,
열쇠가 필요하신가요?
bang, bang,
관리인가
no,
아니면 애도인가?
bang, bang,
열쇠가
다들
bang, bang,
말-
bang, bang.
영광입니다. 죽음 충동 억제 관념 봉인.
I do like the droopy lamp. It's very aesthetically pleasing. Kind of lava lamp core. Prominent. But of course, I claimed control of a branch of the Heisho packs. While you were wasting your time out there searching for the River of Immortality or whatever. I don't even know where I'd even start to refute your brain-dead accusation. This is way beneath me. I don't even want to address you as my senior either. So who is it? Big Brother Juan? Nah, I can't imagine he'd even be interested in someone like you. What are you talking about? I'm asking whose teat you've been suckling on taking power and control of the Mao branch, because we both know for sure there's no way in hell you have the means to control them, right? You little twerp. Are you sure you want to insult my height from where you're standing? Master Yihua? It doesn't seem like the mastermind of this operation was actually anyone important. Agreed. I can tell by the look of that traitor with the physiognomy of a deceiver. This is a waste of time. Hey, Zilu, cut them all down. The mission was to assassinate them. to meet them in open battle, to take the lives of high rank candidates, was not what was agreed upon. What the blah blah blah, just do as you're told. I may fight to protect your life, yet I cannot do more. The Heisho heeds no voices but the one who holds their leash. Looks like that Shi Yu Hua doesn't even control these guys. There's an apt saying, often invoked in the East: a fox may pretend to the throne, but only with the blessing of the tiger. Shut up over there! Damn it, this Heisho pack is useless. Can't even get a simple job done. Master Yi Hua, the Heisho pack was here merely as a backup plan. Our true strategy involves... true. This is fine. I have other plans to sweep you all away. This is the second time this individual has made an odd emphasis on a variation of the word sweep. What are you saying, you bribed the sweepers or something? While their reactions may appear suspicious, that suggestion is almost an absolute impossibility. The head is at the top of the sweeper's chain of command. In other words, only the head possesses the authority to command them. Right, yeah, of course. Moreover, they are prohibited from touching, let alone entering, any designated residential areas during the night of the back streets. This is a permanent, immutable taboo of the head, one of the very first to be introduced. The effort of going through a myriad of paperwork to ensure that Mephistopheles is recognized as a residential vehicle was ultimately to capitalize on this taboo. Yes, it is exactly as you say. What a stupid question to ask, making me anxious out of nowhere. Psst, that soured the mood. Come, let us leave. I'd only intended to have them see my face after all. Too bad, I won't remember them in a few days once they'll get swept away. Ha ha ha. This guy is so lame. Master Yi Hua? We best leave before any more unnecessary words are said. Faust is right. These guys are acting way too suspicious to have some scream brewing in the back there. So overtly suspicious, I'm starting to wonder if they're trying to use reverse psychology on us and walking right into their trap. Well, when surrounded by nothing but uncertainties, there's a solution that usually works. Faust. Faust had intended to make this suggestion first, but it appears that you share the idea. Yep, so Otis. Yes, Executive Manager. We have 12 Zinners, Jiezi-chun, and Wei on our side. And I don't think the so-called Mao branch are willing to fight. Which means we only have 3 enemies. Shi Yi Hua, our guide, and Zilu, the assassin. We have the numerical advantage, don't we? You always make the most accurate read of the battlefield. What's going on over there? What's that tick-tocking noise? Can't tell, bursts away. Our former guide seemed to have figured out what was our conversation was about before, because he took a few slow, careful steps away from Shi Yi Hua before bolting off into the distance. I'd been thinking all this all day, but he sure is a fast runner. Oh, what is it, Honglu? Do you remember something? I did. I had a hard time recalling this because he wasn't from my family. But I remember now. You're big brother Yi Hua of the Shi family, right? Didn't that guy just announce himself earlier? Anyway, Honglu, I'm gonna get that guy and beat the motives out of him. Is that gonna be okay with you? He's not from my family, but I'm sure big brother Yi Hua will be happy to answer your questions. Great. Another thing. As your commander, I should probably say something cool at the start of the battle, right? Wow, that's going to be so cool. Like something straight out of a story. Otis said something like this once. That even if one side has the absolute advantage in battle, the commander's words may be the deciding factor in who wins or loses. So I decided to borrow a few words from a book Honglu once lent me. It was the general who said it. Destroy them all! Wow, how eloquent Dante. Truly a man of great and deep words. One guy. Level 75 with minus 25, minus 25 home. Okay. I like the music. Curse-Rite Butcher Blade, Blink Step. Prioritize target's death rate. Use skill at random enemy. There doesn't seem to be any... Yeah, huh. Let's do this. It's kind of fast. Neutral. That's not great, but you know, It is what it is. Is that better? It's sort of the same. Although, I don't want to do this anyways, just so that I can take the attack off of somebody else. Wow, he really is just aiming for Hong Lu, huh? Or... no. Alright, let's go. It worries me that this is called an unexpected foe, and there's a picture of Ricardo above it, and I'm currently not fighting him. It's nice that I had all my sinking attacks go first, before any of my other ones. Okay, that didn't even bring his defense, which is nice. Yeah, but he did get speed up, which is unfortunate. Alright, let's go. Luckily he's at negative 45 sanity, so like chances are high that I just win most clashes. The power of sinking, yay. And that's a stagger. Now I want to put him right above his next stagger point, which is like 600 damage away, so I can just hit him with everything. I doubt I do 600 damage in a single turn. Especially when I hit 0 hits. That's not fair. Neutral isn't what you want to see, but you know, what can you do? Ria? At least I was able to drop his S somewhat. Didn't help there, but it is what it is. Wow, I was about to say, wow, 3 damage. Amazing. Back down to 8. Pow, 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 pow. Okay, come on, Ursel. Seriously? That was pathetic. I'll just come out and say it. I'm embarrassed that that happened.
왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라. A strange tune crashes through the sound of this fierce battle. He's coming. Is this electronic dance music? Something about it sounds familiar. Finally. Oh, this is good. Thanks to the merry chase you led me on, I had to slide slightly further into the world of the bristly. Let's see. Title 2, Section 11. Row C. The punishment for those who dare to flee from the middle's retribution begins by tearing their legs apart from the groin. I'll make sure you suffer for all my time wasted. What the fuck is that blighter doing here? The hell's wrong with you? Have you been stalking us all along? Since when is chasing after a thief conflated with stalking? I'll have you know that I'm still banished from the world of the luscious thanks to you who dared to pinch my hair coupons. What the hell? Where'd they come from? You guys are just pissing off people left and right, aren't you? Zilu, take him out! What an utterly insular fool. What did you say? Do you not know? That man... What's the middle doing here? Ricardo, a big brother of the middle. The man who slaughtered the sinners like they were nothing. The man who almost forced me to self-destruct. Faust, I'm gonna have to get ready for that again. No, not yet. According to the evaluation data of the LCE, the Sinner's powers have grown since the last time in the Great Lake. Our chances of victory against the Intervallo have risen to a meaningful degree to forfeit the battle before it even begins. By how much? Enough to put our faith in the uncertainties. Alrighty then, enough with the background noise. I don't know what you're doing with these thieves, but I've personally traveled all the way to the eastern part of the city because I simply must exact my vengeance against you with my own two hands. I could have simply informed my brothers in the east and let them handle this, but that just wouldn't do. I was determined to see this through the end myself, even if it meant asking the great brother for the east for a favor. So you there, Half Pint, this cute mini entourage, get the hell out of my sight. The Middle's Book of Vengeance comes first. Half Pint? Ha! Keep battling that fat lip of yours, minion of the fingers. You don't scare me at all with your cheap hairdo and that garish as hell botched dye job. You're in the H-Core turf now. I am... Wow. Just wow. Bloody hell, mate, that's messed up. He's far too absorbed into his old foolishness to see he's walking right into his own demise. Unexpectedly, Ricardo's face wasn't contorted with wrath, even after enduring that barrage of insults. Instead, he looked surprised. A moment of silence followed, during which he seemed to be absorbed in thought. Ooh, impressive. You just set a new record. You're the current record holder for how fast can I get written up in the Ricardo's Book of Vengeance challenge, boy. You did it in 15 seconds. Then, with trembling hands, he reached down to grab his Book of Vengeance, opened it, and began to write something down on the paper, slowly and deliberately, as though to make each stroke of a pen count. Unfortunately, your audacity's terminal. I'll rip your jaws apart myself as punishment. Boys, make sure that this little band of thieves don't get away while I deal with this pipsqueak. What the hell is this asshole talking about? Hey, Zilu. Actually, I don't care. Stop me if you can. Effective immediately, the punishment for all involved parties and bystanders at the site of your crimes shall be complete and total extermination. I think we can slip away unnoticed in this mess? I don't think we got much of a chance here. Ricardo practically rocketed toward where Zilu and Qin Yihua were standing at a burst of speed, but his henchmen had already begun to slowly surround us as he ordered. Ready your weapons, everyone. Payback time for what happened at the Great Lake. Let's do this. Besides, I got a score to settle with that son of a bitch. Ishmael said it's personal this time. This is a focused encounter?
이 또한 지식이다.
I mean, like,
깨달았나?
yeah, some of my characters have lost a little bit of health, but also we all have pretty high sanity at this point, and we've been stacking buffs, so if we have to fight Ricardo at the end of this, that might be a problem, but otherwise I think we'll be okay, at least with the henchmen.
목을 내놓고 있도록.
그대 또한 잠들게.
지식을 마주하고 경영하라. 목을 내놓고 있도록.
편히 쉬시게.
Oh,
무지에서 도피하지 말라.
whoops.
직접 놓아주마.
맞는 거야.
There was an explosive noise from a distance, and moments later Ricardo landed before us with a boom. Heard that the Heisha of the East were a tough bunch, but that lady was something else. So why a woman like that suddenly split from a fight? Not my problem, I guess. She's getting written down in the book too. Time to take care of what I really got here for. Get ready for your beatdown, coupon beams. Named character. Little brother Werner. Huh. Ricardo. Yikes. I just want to get rid of this guy as fast as possible. I guess.
목을 내놓고 있도록.
Okay. Well, that wasn't good.
지식을 마주 경영하라.
Well, that wasn't good. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
안식은 없다.
Oh, but he's back as a ghost. That's nice. Unopposed? What? Oh, he's too slow. Struggling? Yikes. Unopposed? Yikes. If main target has Middle's Vendetta, convert all coins to unbreakable. Who doesn't have that?
이 눈들을
Ryoshu.
너무 오래 보고 있지 마라.
Well, he doesn't.
흘려버려도 구해주지 않을 텐.
I mean, I could try and just like block, but he would definitely get like beat up. Okay. Honestly, just like kill this guy, right? Oh,
불청객은 당장 나가시오. 불청객은
think Sega's a cool idea. He really is. But I also... Yeah. I thought that was gonna, like, end up in a clash, and it did not. Woe is me. At least I got the allies staggered. That should be really nice. Yay. Hmm. 7 speed really sucks. Can clash this skill regardless speed attack is 5+. Oh, that's nice. Does anyone have 5+? No, my max is 3. That's less nice. Who's it targeting? That's nice. I think I can stop it. Yeah, he really does just have a ton of clash power. Unopposed. Dang. He just does so much. He has so much power. I mean, she just gets staggered if she gets hit, I think. But I guess counter would probably be the best thing to do here. Well, she lost. That's not great. Wow. Yikes.
네가 말했던 이거니까.
듀라니아, 죽도록
Okay.
달릴 시간이다.
We keep going, it's fine. I think I can stagger him this turn. Maybe. Actually, never mind. Canto 5 all over again. It is the pain. Okay, we do that. Both of them are attacking Ryoshu, but she has some shield, so it should be fine, honestly. I need him to be slower, so I think I bind him with Ishmael.
정화.
Because right now he's just way too fast for me to actually do anything about. Okay, well,
맞는 거야.
that's both his allies dead at least.
내가 찾은 나만의 항해 방식.
And with the bind, I can hopefully, like, do something meaningful about all his attacks. Yay, 5 damage.
사라져라. 저, 나서도록 할까?
He's like 200 away. I think I just pour the damage on him. And hope that he is staggered. I need to do 100-ish. I can probably do about 100 damage. I believe in myself. That's not great, but you know, well. I don't believe in myself anymore. I've dealt like 0 damage.
모두가 너를 잊어도 반드시 되찾을 거다.
50? Not enough to stagger him? No, Ryoshu.
안식은 없다.
Oh, he got his pals back. He's like 20 damage away. I think I just do that and then I focus on his buddies.
목을 내놓고 있도록 찢어 밝혀주마.
Oh, you know, I don't think I'm gonna be winning this one. I'll be real.
직접 열어드리죠. 요리에 대한 지식은 크게 도움이 안 되었나?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Marcel Ego's a must-have? Yeah, probably. I think being able to just like throw an infinite amount of... Like I just have to... Oh, never mind. He'll probably be staggered anyways, I'm sure it's fine.
불길 속으로
Yeah, okay.
내가 찾은 나만의 항해 방식.
I guess it's not completely hopeless, but I'm gonna need to do some fancy maneuvering to get through this one. So I need to just like dump damage onto him this turn. I think it's like that. And then we just have the rest of them hit him.
오작 터뜨려주지.
The pain of having to actually fight Ricardo instead of just getting him low and then leaving. Well. Okay. Well, that didn't go well. Yes. The most powerful Gregor
이걸로
ID.
대신하지.
Garden of Thorns is... Oh. Let's go? I couldn't have done it without Garden of Thorns. Truly, Kim Ji-hoon himself smiled upon this game. Wait! A shout cuts across the battlefield, just as the sudden appearance of Ricardo was making things incredibly more difficult for us. Waha! Ha 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 ha! Huh? Didn't that guy split? What's he doing here, laughing his butt off? You finally lost the plot, eh? Failed plan after failed plan takes a toll, I suppose. Ahaha, aha. Oh, maybe that was too much. But, I mean, how could I not laugh, right? When, after all that, everything comes together perfectly according to my plan. You hear this too, don't you? The sound of the city. The sound of the back streets. Do you hear the sound of crashing waves? Waves? When the sound of battle came to a stop with yyyyyyaaayyy's sudden shout, we all suddenly began to notice the low crawling sound of omen that had been swirling around the commotion. Something's melting, regurgitating, or perhaps boiling over. If not, it's seeping, it's siphoning, it's a trace that was at once living and dead. Crashing and breaking, devoid of any recognizable stops, the lines between where it begins and ends blurred. Yes, like waves. Current time is 03:21 hours. Then it's too late. The night in the back streets. We've never been outside the bus at this hour, have we? It was past 4 in the morning when we briefly set foot in the outskirts, so no, we have. This would be our second time. Though it must be noted that the time of day was not a matter of concern then, as we were in the outskirts. They're finally getting all swept away like trash. Literally, shut up, bro. Oh, how I've waited for this moment. What's he on about? You can't possibly be thinking the sweepers will somehow break the taboo to help you. Still missing the point, botched purple dye job. Silu, let us leave to the promised location. Huh? Did he actually scamper all the way here just to gloat at us and run away? Indeed, Shi Yihua gloated at us with a confident boast, as though he was finally ready to face us, only to turn tail against the unmistakable look of relief. I don't get it. Does he actually believe the sweepers will help him? Faust. Indeed, sweepers do not invade residential areas. However, what if what we're standing in isn't actually a residential area? What are you talking about? Look, this place has got walls, beds, beddings, and I guess the walls felt weirdly mushy and melty? It wasn't just Rodeo who realized what was going on. The other sinners all began to look around in confusion as well. The walls of the Kazan had all but melted away, leaving nothing behind. As though the place we'd slept in the night was but a house and a painting. Our realization came too late, as the wave-like noise from earlier had already been encroaching right where we were. And unlike the other times, when they'd simply part around the bus, they were cutting straight into the remnants of our lodging. It's sweepers! 3333333. 4512411111 555232200 33351441149541723. Ah, what's going on? Why? This is ridiculous. Why are they using Bear Salt's sound effect every time Ricardo speaks? Sweepers? How dare they break the taboo so brazenly? Heh, looks like we'll be facing the waves tonight. Oof, why do you sound excited about this? I mean, we've gotta... Let's make some things clear. It's clear that if we do nothing but stand around, they'll sweep us away. Damn it, we have to make our stand here. Sweeper hype, let's go.
무지 외에 암흑은 없나니. 아, 그 뒤가 뭐더라?
It just goes straight down. Night in the back streets.
진리를 열기
Let's do
위해
this. Oh. Oh, that's really cool. You can see the middle in the background. Trash disposal. Sweep back streets. So they're bleed and paralyze. Persistence, it's back. Now, how can I get this guy? Whatever, I'll see you later.
목을 내놓고 있도록.
Okay, not a great start.
계속해봐라.
A really bad start,
찾아낼
actually.
때까지.
I'd go so far as to say an awful start.
점령하라.
으타! 더 먹어 치워라.
Oh, I didn't even realize I had Gia. He just took it right on the chin. What a guy.
이 또한 지식이 되도록.
Okay, let's go. Okay, let's not go. These guys are kind of kicking my butt, I'm not gonna lie.
직접 알게 하니라.
At least my Yiseng and my Ryoshu are doing good.
지금이다. 해골바가 내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리. 맞는 거야.
주라디야. 죽도록 달릴 시간이다.
She has 11 health. This is not good. She's gonna die from bleed the moment she attacks.
나아가주게.
받을 수 없다면
네가 말했던 우리 이것이
She died. Oh well, it's to be expected, I suppose.
아차!
좀 나서도록 할까?
나아가주게.
This is a lot of enemies.
환상의 세계로 들어가 보자.
To be expected, I suppose.
깨달았나?
지식을 마주하고 겸용하라.
It's alright, I think I'm stabilizing.
깨달았나?
이게 다친 지성을
꿈속에서
Well, she got staggered. Wave 2, okay. They all started at 30 SP, that's not great.
어두운 무지를 열어줬지. 환상의 세계로 들어가 보죠.
I did a decent amount of damage actually.
직접 하! 열어드리죠.
Ow!
밝혀주라.
That didn't seem particularly fair.
깨달았나?
지식을 마주하고 겸용하라. 계속해봐라. 이 폭풍이 찾아낼 때까지. 다시
Okay, this guy's just getting a free attack, but that's okay.
이 또한 지식이 되도록.
으타! 뭐가 쏘라!
This is kind of a stressful fight. Very well made. Oh, well, there goes her.
기록에 따라 당신을 반드시 집행하겠습니다.
아이고 영원하지 않아.
Alright, the more staggers, the better.
어두운 무지를 열어줬지요. 편히 쉬시게.
지식을 마주하고 겸용하라.
내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리한다.
이게 다친 지성을
5 of 14.
나아가주게.
I'm not gonna take any chances.
편히 쉬시게. 이곳은 그분의 조상이요. 가까이서 자세히 보겠는가.
이제 가진 것은 이 청기밖에 없는데 이것까지.
써주마.
All of the sweepers just... Oh my goodness.
지식을 마저 경영하라.
All the sweepers just running past is so distracting.
깨달았나?
Okay. I believe in myself.
직접 알게 하느라.
I shouldn't have believed in myself.
직접 하! 열어드리죠.
이렇게 피가 내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리. 맞는 거야. 파쇄 완료.
Okay. Wave 2 complete. Wave 3 incoming. The battle was long and grueling. Even Ricardo and his henchmen appeared visibly exhausted after the second wave. Big bro, we messed up. We never should have put you through this trouble in the first place. Don't worry about it, kid. You've taken a brother who came all the way from the south and guided him safely through the labyrinth that is H-Core. I'd say you've done more than enough. No one could have expected that we'd be fighting the sweepers of all things. If we're able to withstand the sweepers, enemies that could give even the middle trouble, practice makes perfect and perfection makes an expert, huh? I guess Hongli wasn't too far off the mark. Man, we'd have been long swept away by the horde if we were still new at this. Ishmael, who was taking this brief downtime to check the sharpness of our harpoon, was right. We've been through something like this before, fighting an endless horde of enemies, long battles of attrition. It wasn't new. And at the very experience was definitely an edge we had against his enemies. Of course. Can we even handle the third wave at this rate? There is no choice but to withstand it. Nothing was certain just yet. We still had the third wave to survive. Carry out your sentences as soon as we survive the third wave. Even when we're basically in the same boat, that guy just can't help but have it out for us, huh? Why would I ever... Gah! The third wave begins, and with it the buildings suddenly begin to shift violently. Whoa, hold on, what's going on? The buildings are shifting. What's happening? All of the sweepers just getting flung into the air. I remember asking all you guys to read the damn pamphlets. Buildings inside H-Core shift every once in a while. I didn't know it would happen like this, but still. Fortunately, it doesn't seem the building we're in is shifting by much, Executive Manager. As soon as Otis finished, an errant building suddenly jetted violently from the ground, rising in a diagonal burst, and struck Ricardo square in the chest, sending him blasting off into the skyline. Damn you! Mark my words, this is also going in the book! Ricardo wasn't the only one that got practically punched by a building. Big bro! The henchmen in the middle, who had formed a defensive square to withstand the waves, were blasted off in all directions. Or maybe they were falling? I wasn't really sure anymore. Ooh, what is happening? The movement of the buildings has significantly reduced the enemy population in this area, Dante. This is an opportunity. Now that those irritating bastards are off our backs, I think this is definitely more doable now. I can feel the spirit rising among the sinners. Come on, let's do this. We've done this kind of fight 1,000 times.
보여주게. 직접 열어드리죠.
깨달았나?
환상의 세계로 들어가 보죠.
이제 가진 것은 이 전기밖에 없는데 이것까지.
기록에 따라 당신은 반드시 집행하겠습니다. 내가 찾은 나만의 항해 방식. 지금이다. 해골바가지 거미 대가리. 자! 꽂아 터뜨려주지.
이곳은 그분의 초성이요. 가까이서 자세히 보겠으니까 정든 그대를 기릴 테니.
지시를 마주하고 겸연하라.
Once again, sorry about the sudden silence. I'm still in the kitchen. But you know, what can you do?
어두운 무지를 열어줬지요.
I can afford it. No need to be frugal with my abilities.
이곳은
My
그분의
ego
초성이요.
usage.
가까이서 자세히 보겠는가.
기록에 따라
This fight is like
당신은 반드시 집행하겠습니다.
not like hard, but man, is it tiring.
내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리한다. 항상 지켜보고 있었지.
Long hair Ryoshu. $17 damage. Wow. Oh, I don't have any ego resources, huh?
꽂아 터뜨려주지.
I guess I should have been more frugal after all.
깨달았나? 무지하니까
I'm honestly not super worried. Even if I lose some more sinners, like, I've got a lot of
지시를 마주하고 겸연하라.
Oh, he's gonna get staggered here, actually. That's unfortunate. Yeah.
나아가주게.
There we go. Get evaded, Lamau? Yeah, but Works Ishmael's evade is just so good.
환상의 세계로 들어가 보죠. 직접 열어둔
Staggered, Lamau? Oh. Let's go! Survived. That was cool, actually. Was that the last of them? Current time is 4:24 hours, about 10 minutes till the night of the Backstreets ends, but we can relax now, given that we survived the third wave. Buildings are also no longer shifting. Stability has been restored. We did it, Executive Manager. But bloody hell, finally! Sims all collapsed to the ground from exhaustion. There was a Kazan here, but it's gone now. Despite the fact we hadn't moved at all from our initial positions, there wasn't even a trace of it having been here. We realized we'd been relocated to on top of a roof, as though we'd all just awakened from the dream of sleeping in a building that never even existed. That was one hell of a battle, man. I thought I was done for. Oh, this is killing me. I don't know if we could have survived that if that hair-obsessed loon wasn't here to draw some of them away. I guess we got something to thank him for. So that's all they've got in a head-on battle. Art thou acquainted with these foes, young Ryoshu? O.F.C. I've heard of them. Their scent of blood, 'twas faint, but it cannot be, no. 'Twould be best not to linger over long on this thought. Why not? Dig deeper. Letting ephemeral inspiration slip through your fingers is the death of creativity. I said I won't linger on it. Oh, don't rush me. Whatever. She got serious. How uninspiring. Guys, now's not the time to bicker. Ryoshu and Don Quixote's words were indeed unnerving, but we've had plenty of time to discuss them once we return to the bus. If we can return in one piece. Shi Yihua. I'll be frank, that was impressive. I thought for sure you'd have been long swept away by now. Shi Yihua must have been waiting somewhere nearby to watch us die, because it did not take long for him to reappear before us. Perhaps they agreed upon a new deal while we were fending off the waves of sweepers. The Mao branch and Zilu were both approaching us in an intimidating gait that contrasted with their earlier passivity. Damn it, Executive Manager, we've had too many high-risk, high-fatigue battles in succession. I hate to offer such disloyal advice, but it may be wise to avoid this battle at all costs. That don't seem like an option to me. They look around. Most of the Sims were either dead, trampled and chopped to small, unrecognizable pieces, or were barely holding on at best. I can bring them back, I always do. But when they've completely surrounded us, I don't know if I can bring them back in time to protect me. They might just cut the Sims down as soon as they get back up. Well, this was well within my predictions. I can simply finish off anyone that hasn't been swept away. Now, a stage is set for my ascension. For the next 10 minutes, no sweepers, let alone anyone, is coming here. You know why? Because who in their right mind would leave their homes when the night in the backstreets is still ongoing? And it looks like even that idiot from the middle's been taken care of too, somehow. Bah! How much of this was your plan? How much, you ask? The whole thing, of course. All the way back to that construction site that blocked your path. The one who deceived that unscrupulous fool of your company? It was me. The one who put the pitiful King Tao, who doesn't even have a family name, with you? It was me. The one who contracted the Triax office to challenge you for a duel? It was me. And guess who it was that relayed your real-time location to all kinds of forces in the district? Yes, it was me. And this trashy lodging without a residential permit? Ha ha ha, I devised all devised by none other than yours truly using Q-Core's technology. I see. Ah, it's so good. It was so good, wasn't it? What a perfect strategy. What did you think? Aren't I great? Aren't I so utterly clever? This is exactly why I deserve to be the next family heir hierarch. A folly to speak those words. An unfamiliar voice echoed from the dark. There was neither animosity nor hospitality, only utter serenity and nothing else. The speaker approached us, walking under the narrow ray of moonlight that shone between the shifted buildings. In his hand was a decapitated head illuminated by the pale light. Blood dribbles from the severed neck, and the wide-open eyes remain frozen in its final moments, filled with utter terror. He walks towards us, in step with the drip, drip of blood. It can't be. Jia, Kui? I knew Yi Hua was working for someone. It was him. Why do you have King Tao's head? I've brought back the wayward pet to his master, that it may once again be leashed. There's a serpent, my lord. Leave it. We needn't shoo it away. What? You were loaned the Heisho pack so you may simply get in their way, no more. I see. Was there a sudden change of heart once you held the leash in your hands? That to return to the Shi family's side would be to your benefit? No, you knew everything all along? What, I must ask, is everything to you? Your vision is too limited for my lord's wisdom to comprehend. The wise fails to peer through the narrow-sighted eyes of the fool. But if by everything you refer to how you feigned abandonment from the Shi family to secure my lord's trust, indeed, it could be said that we do know everything. Don't kill me, please, please don't kill me. I'll share with you my most guarded secrets. At the Shi family, right, the 10 Blades of the East. Yes, come. But before Shi Yihua could speak no more. For a serpentine blade struck from the umbra and separated his head from his torso with ease. That's cool. Little Yihua, have I not warned you time and again to guard your tongue against the creeping desperation? I believe we've gathered the intelligence we'd hoped to collect, my lord. You needn't pursue the serpent, Zilu. His voice boomed as he commanded those who appeared for his officers. The tall-built man took a ponderous step from the shadows and stood before us. With an enigmatic expression, he wordlessly looked at Yihua's decapitated head, now lying at the ground, and then us. It was as though he was gazing upon the clouds or blades of grass. I shall take them with me. He picked up Yihua's decapitated head before gesturing at his officer with a nod. Ah, here it is, my lord. Wrap their heads with stasis wraps. The decomposition won't set in any time soon. And with those bandages, he begins to wrap them up in a practiced motion. He does not pay us any heed, as though we weren't even worth his attention. Return to me once you are finished here. Yes, my lord. Oh, hold on. You can't just show up out of nowhere. He did not reply, his eyes gazing, yet reflecting nothing but hollow emptiness. And just as he emerged from the darkness, he vanished into the shadows, carrying 2 decapitated heads. He really showed up, said, "I'm taking this," and left. So it wasn't
전투를 통해 잊은 것과 배운 것을
Zilu who
살피고
decapitated him. It
다시 지식을
was
쌓아 DH의 일을
somebody
해결할
else.
뿐이다.
Probably someone from the Shi family, I guess? ... Things weren't looking any better. I could instinctively tell that they were different from anyone or anything we'd faced in Hong Yuan so far. I don't suppose our lord left them alive only for us to slay them. Then perhaps it would be apt that I introduce myself, as it is common courtesy to do so. Call me Zigo. I am but a humble student of my lord, Master Q's teachings. My lord, Master Q, somehow I was reminded of the discussion King Tao refused to finish. For when the far one comes, betwixt the burnt doors shall a star fall astray. As for the song, it's a song that's become rather popular in the backstreets in recent months. This is not the place to discuss such matters. I will share the tale in a more appropriate setting later should we come across it. Name's Dante, I'm their manager. I started to speak up, struggling through the pressure. I instinctively knew that we had to find out as much as I could about that man from earlier. They introduced themselves as Manager Dante. I see, your candidness is appreciated. Zilu, withdraw them now. It seems we need not be content with them at the moment. Very well. It seemed they had the very same thought about us. Now, is that sufficient proof of our intent to engage in brief discourse? To discuss some matters that with you to mark a courtly ending to this encounter should be a benefit to both of us, for the prospects of our future, so ask away, as they say. So, that's when Jiazi-chan stepped forward, after having retreated from the domineering presence. So, that's what those suspicious songs I heard in the backstreets were about? It's about you guys, wasn't it? So are those lyrics true? Ah, so that is what you wish to know. Z-chan of the Jia family, it is said that you possess talent in rhetoric, yet walk a path beclouded by concern and anxiety. Truly, your insignificance precludes you from greatness. Ouch. Wei, don't speak for me. I would have been the first to say anything if I thought she was wrong. Yes, my lady. Shi Yihua, you're the one who sent him after us, right? Close, yet not exact. He was an agent of the Shi family, sent to spy on my lord's doings. We had bestowed him control of a Heisho pack, for we had found his conduct shallow, and saw a means of learning more of the Shi family's machinations. Yet it seems that, once granted power, the boy mistook himself for a man with the wherewithal to represent the Shi family. So you used him, just as he sought to use us, though he was quite shallow in his strategy compared to our own. So what now? I don't think you're looking to kill us, right? Now, nothing. Do whatever it was that you sought to accomplish here. You're letting two of your master's rivals go, just like that? What a strange thing to say. Look around as I might, I fail to see any rivals here. Ouch. Then, why did you order Yihua to attack us? You said it yourself, we're not even your rivals. The managers inquires why you commanded Yihua to carry out this assault against Limbus Company. They fear, yet they seek to gain understanding through that fear. Yet they remain wanting in a certain perspicacity. My lord has always said if one learns not from a plight, then no discourse with them shall bear fruit. Instead of giving me a straight answer, Zigong left me with only a puzzling comment before she brushed past us. I have given you courtesy enough. It is good time for us to depart. Now, do stay nicely within your borders, as you have remained there thus far. I would greatly despise an odd splash of ink marring the great painting. With that, Zigong walked into the shadows cast beneath the forest of buildings. Zilu and the countless Heisho that had surrounded us also disappeared with them. Finally. I looked around just in time to see Otis collapse, while the rest of the sinners lay dead or barely clinging to life. And there was Jiazi-chan, who had collapsed to the floor as well, and Wei, who was tending to her wounds. And me, who somehow survived through all that without getting decapitated. And the night that put us through multiple brushes with death came to an end. The day breaks. Yeah, that's pretty much everything that's happened. That Big Brother Q? I see. Once the day broke, we decided to take a quick walk outside to recover a little from the exhaustion of the night. It was also decided our course of action from here on, and we also had to decide if we wanted to travel with Jiazi-chan, with whom we shared our destination. Hello? Did you forget how to make a concerned face or something? How are you maintaining that irritating poker face through the whole conversation? Haha, of course not. Classic Jia family secret, huh? Always hiding something. And I bet you are too. If you are, you better spit it out now. I don't have time to casually stroll about with my to-be enemy. Z-chan, as I've always said, the seat of the family hierarchy is of no... Fine, even if you are lying, I do know that you haven't prepared anything for your assignment anyway. Changing the subject, Jiazi-chan, who was chatting with Honglu, methodically slowed down enough to walk right next to me as though she was executing the steps of a plan. You lead my brother's faction, don't you? About what I wanted to talk to you about earlier. I guess so. For now, I guess. Earlier? Oh, is this our conversation back at the Kazan? Brother, translations please. Of course, Dante is unquestionably our manager. Great, let me make a proposal then. Become my faction for the duration of the family hierarchy evaluations. Help me out. What? It's can we do that? Can we do that? Why not? You guys managed to stall even the sweepers. That means you command a formidable force. Besides, you're headed to the family mansion anyway, aren't you? You just don't know what to do once you get there. As for competition, well, my brother doesn't care about the whole thing anyway, so why don't you join me? Help me become the family hierarch. I'm not like our other older siblings. I always pay my debts, whether that's for a favor or for a grudge. If you can't trust me, I'm happy to make a written. Can we do that, Faust? Faust deems Jiazi-chan's plan, explanation of at least, rather flawless. Having such an ally at the apex of a wing will be a great boon to Limbus Company as well. I guess so. I don't see any reason to refuse her offer. Hong Lu, who'd been listening to our conversation, boiled the discussion over to a clearer explanation related to Jiazi-chan. Heh, perfect. It is said that formation of such alliances should come with a grand banquet to mark the occasion and to cement the upcoming coalition. The banquet's on me. Once we get closer to the central zone, let's find a nice Kazan to discuss our future ventures together. You're Dante, right? Let's make this thing work. Let's. I was still bewildered by the turn of events, but Jiazi-chan reached out for a handshake with such earnestness that I found myself almost drawn to shake her hand in return. Now that I think about it, this is the first time we ever made ourselves an ally that wasn't specifically selected by the company, huh? Well, if that's the case, I really hope we can have at least one ally who doesn't meet a terrible end. Oh no. After the banquet, we walked out of the Kazan to find Mephistopheles waiting for us in the middle of the road. Wow, man, I never thought about it, but now that it's just standing there in the middle of the street, it really stands out, doesn't it? Is this your usual ride? Glad to see you're all safe. Sod and Pilot walked out from inside the bus. So did you guys take care of the business? I have some more pressing things to talk to you about. Listen well, do you have any idea how much trouble you're supporting this little connection? Yes, Miss Fausto has already gave me a report. Pilot? Oh boy, yes ma'am. By the way, he's awkwardly stepping forward. He probably already got a hell of a talking to from Saud. Real mighty sorry about that, y'all. I've only ever been part of an eradication missions, never in this espionage business, so... Pilot, what did I say about mixing excuses into an apology? Forget what I said. Real mighty sorry, for real. This King Tao guy approached me and sweet-talked me into going along with this plan of his, so I got too cocky, assuming I knew better than my seniors. I'm sorry, too. I forgot that he's still a new guy in the business. Of course he's prone to making these mistakes. Looks like we'll both be writing letters to explain our failure together, huh? You're both getting disciplined for this? The disciplinary action is unlikely to be anything of significance. The LCB team came out unscathed, all things considered. However, it is likely that they may have to work for half a year without pay. I'd consider it a win if all we're getting is docked pay. Next time, I do promise. Next time I'm gonna get real good at this job. I'm gonna become someone who can actually provide good assistance to y'all. So, of course, Pilot, you really should. In fact, you'll have no choice but to become a contributing member of the team when I'm done with you. Let's really get to it, huh? No one's dying or getting fired under my watch as long as I'm their manager. I'll make sure of that. Yeah. Oh, right, almost forgot to tell you, Sard. It's real important business stuff. Going forward, we're gonna... Well, yeah, I was gonna bring this up sooner or later. We just got orders from the LCA. Sud produced a small device from our pockets and began reading from it. Upon arriving at the central zone of H-Core, the LCB will participate in the family hierarchy evaluation with a candidate. We're gonna do anyway. Now this bus team faction is gonna be my... The LCB will present the following sinner as their chosen candidate. Sinner number 6, Hong Lu. What? What? You can't do that, what the hell? You, all of you, I'm gonna make you throw up everything you just ate, you assholes. Wow. Hey, at least we got a free meal out of it. Clear within 15 turns, that's crazy. Anyways, that's the final Intervallo that's out right now. And check rewards. I have 990, almost enough. Yeah, that was, you know, honestly, we didn't really learn anything about sweepers that we didn't already know, which is unfortunate. I thought we might learn something, but no, they were just nameless antagonist again. I think without someone like Angela to actually translate, there wasn't much they could actually do to make them more, you know, plot relevant, I guess. But it's still kind of sad that, like, because their sweepers are so cool, but they're just, we don't know anything about them really. But yeah, that's all from me. I'll do another 10 pull just for the fun of it. Nothing new, as always. But yeah, I mean, thanks for hanging around, thanks for watching, and I think I might actually just call the stream here, because that has been, what, been streaming about 3 hours for now? I mean, that's not like a ton, but I don't know, my neck's starting to hurt. I gotta clear out of here. Might as well finish all my daily tasks first.
다른 부서도 벌써 한바탕 했나?
Well, most of them. I'm not gonna do the thread excavation, I'll be real. Alright. That should be pretty much everything. Yeah. Once again, thanks for coming by. I'll be definitely streaming Canto 8 when it comes out, so if you want to hang around for that, please do. You know, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you got it this far on YouTube, I'm shocked, honestly. Like, very shocked. You kind of gotta subscribe now. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye-bye.